Chapter 852. Wrath of the Dragon Turtlebang. The Grand Elder furiously kicked the crystal tortoise to the ground, causing the entire small world to tremble. Half of the mountains within the small world collapsed on the spot. The entire ground was covered with spiderweb-like cracks. Hundreds of Wu Jun experts from the Qin clan who were watching the battle rolled on the ground, covered in dust. The Qin clan head was so angry that he spat out another mouthful of blood. He shouted at the Great Elder, "Great Elder, we want to kill that kid. Why are you venting your anger on the sacred grounds?" "Clan head, I didn't do that. I only kicked the turtle lightly. How would I know that it would cause such serious consequences?" The Great Elder was dumbfounded. He couldn't understand at all. That turtle was only the size of a palm. How could it cause such a huge commotion when it fell? When he saw the Qin clan head's actions, Yi Fei's eyes widened. Even if this person wanted to die, he didn't have to humiliate himself like this. Not only did he pinch and kick the dragon turtle, he even spat a mouthful of phlegm at the dragon turtle. Yi Fei didn't know if it was an illusion, but when he saw the Qin clan head spit at the dragon turtle, he felt that the air in the small world became much hotter. 100 miles in an instant. Without any hesitation, Yi Fei released another primordial spirit and quickly retreated another 100 miles. "Junior, where do you think you are going? Everyone, retreat behind us." The Qin clan head and the Great Elder were furious. In order to kill Yi Fei, they had paid a huge price. Fortunately, the small world was sealed. They weren't afraid that Yi Fei would escape. Therefore, the Qin clan head decided to postpone the pursuit of Yi Fei. Instead, he gathered all the disciples of the Qin clan around him. He didn't want to give Yi Fei a chance to kill them in the chaos. Looking at this scene, Yi Fei was so shocked that his eyeballs were about to pop out of their socket. Holy F***ck. Is the head of the Qin family crazy? They insulted the dragon turtle, but instead of running for their lives, he gathered all the disciples of the Qin family around him. Yi Fei had an extremely strange expression on his face as he watched the group of Qin clan disciples gather together in high spirits, forming a huge army of cultivators with great momentum. "Ha ha ha, brat, let's see how you're going to kill people here." The head of the Qin family laughed complacently. "Little bastard, how dare you throw a tortoise in front of me? I'll tear you to shreds today." The Qin clan's Great Elder's patience had reached its limit. Flames of fury surged from his body like a hurricane. He raised his saber and prepared to chase after Yi Fei. Boom! Suddenly, the entire minor world began to shake uncontrollably. Many of the Qin family's disciples cried out in alarm as they saw an angry crystal turtle crawl out of the ground. How is this possible? The Great Elder was stunned. He couldn't believe that after his earth-penetrating seven-fold layer kick, not only did the tortoise not die, it actually crawled out and stared at him with incomparable brutality. Roar! Then, the entire minor world resounded with the unique dragon roar of the dragon tortoise. It was filled with brutality. Under the astonished gazes of the Qin family's disciples, the crystal turtle, which was the size of a palm, suddenly became the size of a face. Then, it abruptly became the size of a mountain. It also emitted a terrifying aura that was as violent as a volcano. Dragon! Dragon tortoise! How did a dragon tortoise appear in our sacred ground? An almighty of the Qin family recognized the identity of the dragon tortoise. His entire body began to tremble uncontrollably. One must know that the dragon tortoise was one of the top 10 vicious beasts in the Tianwu continent. Although it wasn't feared by everyone, those below the heavenly Grandmaster Grand Sage could only run away when they saw the dragon tortoise. The Great Elder and the head of the Qin family were also shocked, their eyes wide open. The Great Elder screamed in disbelief. What I kicked out is actually a dragon tortoise. I even spat a mouthful of thick phlegm at it. Head of the Qin family, save me!" After recovering from his shock, the Great Elder couldn't be bothered to chase after Yi Fei. He seemed to have sensed something and turned around to escape. This scene completely enraged the dragon tortoise. Originally, the dragon tortoise was already humiliated by the terrifying little girl. Now there was actually an ant-like human who dared to spit thick phlegm at its head. Even if it was the vicious beasts, the dragon tortoise still felt deeply humiliated and violent. Roar! Its huge body became even bigger. Finally, when the dragon tortoise's body returned to its largest size, it finally broke free from the seal that Xiao Chao placed on its cultivation level. Boom! A mouthful of dragon flames, which was even more terrifying than a volcanic eruption, rushed into the sky. The dragon tortoise was so angry that its entire body emitted thick smoke. Its huge body stomped on the ground and the dragon tortoise soared into the sky. Its terrifying dragon aura immediately killed a large number of the Qing family disciples. Puff! Only now did the head of the Qing family realize how stupid of a decision he had made. In front of the dragon tortoise, he actually gathered all the Qing family disciples. Suddenly, the great elder's miserable roar came from afar. Facing the terrifying dragon flames of the dragon tortoise, even though the great elder used all his strength to resist, he was still vaporized by the dragon flames in half a breath's time. Even when he died, he still couldn't rest in peace. Puff! The head of the Qing family was so angry that he spat out another mouthful of blood. He stared at the dragon tortoise with despair and hatred. He also stared at the distant Yi Fei. Junior, you will die a horrible death. You actually used the dragon tortoise to harm us. Even if I die, I will drag you down with me. The head of the Qing family was filled with endless anger and grievance. He knew that once the dragon tortoise appeared, the entire Star Moon Holy Land would probably be destroyed. The despairing head of the Qing family immediately gave up on all his defenses. He frantically burned his blood essence and fell from the sky like a huge meteor. He tried to go around the dragon tortoise and perish together with Yi Fei. Yi Fei's expression was cold as he coldly shook his head. If you want to kill me, you'd better think about how to face the fury of the dragon tortoise. You actually dared to spit at the dragon tortoise. The Qing family is indeed very good and very powerful. Roar! Roar! Hearing Yi Fei's words, the dragon tortoise was no longer furious. Instead, it went berserk on the spot. Before the head of the Qing family rushed over, the dragon tortoise opened its mouth and spat out a dragon flame that was 10 times bigger than the one before. It swept across the sky and burned through the entire sealed small world. The head of the Qing family, who was directly facing the fury of the dragon tortoise, shed tears of despair. Dragon tortoise, I will fight it out with you. Bang! The small world completely exploded. Knowing that he was no match for the dragon tortoise, the head of the Qing family chose to self-destruct. In an instant, his body turned into a huge meteor shower that completely covered the body of the dragon tortoise. Seeing this, Yi Fei secretly clicked his tongue. This old man is really ruthless. Since he can't drag me down with him, he actually wants to drag the dragon tortoise down with him. The dragon tortoise won't be killed by the explosion, right? Looking at the world that had turned into half a world of flames, Yi Fei was shocked. After that, he turned around and left. He was here to save his sister. The life and death of the Qing family and the dragon tortoise had nothing to do with him. It was more important to meet up with Xia Jun and the others while the experts of the Star Moon Holy Land were all dead. Roar! At the same time that Yi Fei left, a tall figure suddenly walked out from the world of flames. The roar of a dragon was unceasingly heard, and the tyrannical aura shook the sky. The dragon tortoise was actually still alive. Even after killing the 2 strongest people of the Qing family, it was still unable to suppress the grievances and anger that the dragon tortoise had suffered during this period of time. Therefore, the tyrannical eyes of the dragon tortoise were like 2 burning volcanoes as they stared at the remaining disciples of the Qing family in the sky. The terrifying might of the world even filled the entire sky of the Star Moon Holy Land. It's over. The Star Moon Holy Land and our Qing family are completely finished. It's all that brat's fault. Of all the things he could throw away, he actually threw away the dragon tortoise. Even if we become ghosts, we won't let him off. Boom! Chapter 853. Star Moon Annihilation. The destruction of the small world and the huge tremors from the ground caused Xia Jun and Hu Yanchao's expressions to change instantly. They had already rushed into a hidden cave in the Star Moon Holy Land. Although they did not know what was happening on the surface, they could still feel how intense the battle on the surface was. Strictly speaking, this was not a battle at all. It was a cruel massacre under the rage of the dragon turtle. Wherever the dragon turtle passed by, the Almighty of the Qing family and the cultivators recruited by the Holy Land were all like fireworks, exploding on the ground and in the sky. Many cultivators died with anger and grievance in their hearts. Originally, with the strength of the Star Moon Holy Land, even if an earth-shattering 10th layer Almighty came, they would not be unable to resist. Unfortunately, the Star Moon Holy Land was facing the dragon turtle of the 10 great vicious beasts this time. Furthermore, the dragon turtle was currently in a berserk state. Therefore, no matter how many Almighty of the Star Moon Holy Land and how many saint artifacts they had, in front of the dragon turtle, there was only one outcome. They would either be melted by the dragon turtle with the dragon flame people or be stomped to death by the dragon turtle in anger. Even in the depths of the ground, Xia Jun and Hu Yanchao could feel the dragon turtle's terrifying aura wreaking havoc. What happened up there? Although the patriarch is very strong, he would not wantonly destroy the small world of our holy land like this. Fairy Qing Mu faintly had a bad premonition. Hu Yanchao and Xia Jun had sneers on their faces. They coldly snorted and said, "No matter what happened up there, your Star Moon Holy Land is most likely finished. Your Qing family will never be able to do evil again. Cut the crap and quickly open the door for us." The Star Moon Holy Land was very strict with the children with special constitutions. If not for Yi Fei taking the initiative to act as bait and attracting the attention of all the experts of the Holy Land, Xia Jun and Hu Yanchao would definitely not have been able to smoothly rush into the secret realm built underground. Fearing that there would be danger inside, they let Fairy Qing Mu take the lead to open the heavy stone door. Whoosh! A black figure immediately rushed out from inside. Without hesitation, he charged towards Fairy Qing Mu. "Qing Mu, so it was you who betrayed our Qing clan. You traitor!" "No, second elder, I didn't betray you. I merely—" Fairy Qing Mu wanted to explain, but a cold ray of light had already shot past her. "Kill!" Hu Yanchao's eyes were red as he charged towards the Qing clan's second elder, who was hiding behind the stone door. Xia Jun followed closely behind and charged towards the second elder as well. "Hu Yanchao, you traitor!" The second elder was extremely shocked. He recognized Hu Yanchao at a glance. It was also him who had gone to the East Continent and deceived Hu Yanchao's son. "That's right, it's me. But I'm not a traitor. I'm the king of hell who wants your life." Hu Yanchao's eyes were bloodshot as he charged towards the second elder without any regard for his own life. He had two enemies. One was the disciple of the Qing clan who had obtained his son's special constitution. The other was the culprit who had deceived him and taken his son away. "Ha ha ha, just the two of you. One of you is at Earth-penetrating Stage 1, and the other is Wu Jun Stage 9. How dare you dream of killing me? What a joke." The second elder was slightly stunned. Then, he laughed maniacally. His eyes were filled with mockery and disdain. He was an Earth-penetrating Stage 4 expert. How could he take Hu Yanchao and Xia Jun seriously? Seeing the two of them charging towards him, a sinister smile flashed across the second elder's face. He was about to attack and kill both Hu Yanchao and Xia Jun. At this moment, a cold voice suddenly came from outside the stone door. "Killing you is a joke. I'd like to see who's the real joke. Die." Boom. Yi Fei tore the void apart. Using the void steps, he appeared inside the stone door from outside and stood behind the second elder. No! Under Fairy Qingmu's horrified gaze, the second elder's face was filled with shock and fear as he watched a flaming sacred sword behead him. Fairy Qingmu broke down in an instant. Seeing Yi Fei appear here so quickly, she vaguely understood something. She screamed in fear and rushed out of the stone door. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. He was just an ant back then. He was a piece of trash from Black Rock City. How did he grow to this extent? How did he become so powerful? I'm going to find the patriarch and find out what happened above ground. Seeing Fairy Qingmu rushing to the ground, Hu Yanqiao and Xia Jun's expressions changed at the same time. Young Master Yi! Big brother? Let her be. Without my order, she can't escape. Yi Fei shook his head coldly. He didn't pay attention to the slightly crazy Fairy Qingmu. He quickly sized up the internal structure of the stone door and discovered that it was actually a sealed prison filled with spiritual energy. It was divided into 2 rows and had a total of 100 rooms. In other words, there were at least 100 children with special constitutions captured by the Star Moon Holy Land from other regions. Thinking that his younger sister might have been imprisoned here for nearly 10 years, Yi Fei suddenly felt a sharp pain in his heart. Then, he quickly rushed forward and broke the prison door in front of him with his bare hand. Xia Jun and Hu Yanqiao were also furious. They broke the prison door and soon, the 80 or so young boys and girls imprisoned inside were gathered together with frightened expressions. Big brother, which one of them is your younger sister? Xia Jun looked left and right at the young girls in the crowd. Although there were a few beauties among them, they didn't look like Yi Fei. None of them are my younger sister. Yi Fei's expression was very ugly. He couldn't find his younger sister's figure here. This made Yi Fei feel somewhat vexed. Could it be that something happened to my younger sister? Young Master Yi, don't worry. Perhaps they know where your younger sister is, Hu Yanqiao comforted from the side. He was afraid that Yi Fei would turn into a demon again. He tried his best to take a deep breath. Yi Fei also forced himself to suppress the worry in his heart. He walked towards the group of young boys and girls with special constitutions. Looking at their frightened and numb faces, he felt another stab of pain in his heart. I have a younger sister called Yi Shanshan. She was also captured here like all of you. Do any of you know where she is? Yi Fei asked bitterly. Shanshan? Your Shanshan's older brother? Your brother Yi? Hearing Yi Fei's words, a skinny little girl suddenly walked out from the crowd. She was so skinny that one could even see the bones in her palms. Even her steps were somewhat unstable. Yi Fei was shocked once again. Xia Jun was also shocked and scolded angrily. Those bastards! Not only did they capture you, they even tortured you. No, Brother Yi, you're wrong. We're not being tortured. At least we're still alive. Compared to those brothers and sisters who were deprived of their special constitutions and died in pain, we're already very lucky. Chapter 854. A Field of White. What? The Qing clan sent Shanshan to the Royal Wind City? Yi Fei was shocked again. He thought he would be able to reunite with his sister after finding this place, but in the end, he was still one step too late. This damned Qing clan. Just using the dragon turtle to destroy them was already letting them off easy. Xia Jun looked at the skinny little girl and asked curiously, "How do you know so much?" Upon hearing this, Yi Fei found it a little strange. The other children had been tortured until their faces were numb. Only this little girl seemed normal. I heard from the second elder of the Qing clan that I possess the body of the wind spirit. I can hear sounds from very far away, and I can even talk to Feng. That's why I can hear a lot of secrets. The little girl was still smiling, her smile was filled with optimism and hope. Perhaps it was this smile that allowed her to persevere through the cruel environment. Yi Fei suddenly walked over. He carefully picked her up and said, "Don't worry, the nightmare is over. Today will be your new beginning." The little girl froze for a moment. She did not expect Yi Fei to carry her like this. Then, her tears fell like pearls from a broken necklace. Big brother Yi, I can hear a lot of screams outside, as well as the roars of monsters. Can we really escape? The little girl asked while sobbing. Yes, as long as I'm here, you can definitely do it. Take them, we will take them away. Yi Fei nodded at Xia Jun and Hu Yanqiao. Hu Yanqiao and Xia Jun's eyes were red. Even if Yi Fei didn't say anything, they wouldn't let these children stay here. Come with us, you're safe now. Do you still have family? Can we send you home? Hearing the words of Hu Yanqiao and Xia Jun, the numbness on the faces of the group of children finally lessened a lot. Their eyes, which were still filled with fear, gradually brightened as they looked at the corpse of the second elder on the ground. On the ground, Fairy Qing Mu looked at the scene before her with disbelief. The Star Moon Holy Land was destroyed, the small world had collapsed, and the disciples of the Qing clan, regardless of gender, had all died in the raging flames. The large number of cultivators recruited by the Holy Land screamed in horror. This was because there was a tyrannical dragon tortoise in the sky. It was still emitting thick smoke and spewing out terrifying dragon flames, crazily destroying all life in front of it. The moment she saw the dragon turtle, Fairy Qingmu could not believe her eyes. Her voice was trembling, and her entire soul was trembling uncontrollably. Dragon turtle! How could it be a dragon turtle? That bastard, how could he possibly accomplish such a feat? That demon! He actually managed to destroy our Qing family and the Star Moon Holy Land all by himself. Fairy Greenwood found it hard to accept, but she had no choice. The truth was right in front of her eyes. When she rushed up, the dragon turtle's massacre was already coming to an end. Soon after, its tyrannical gaze stared at the only person in the Holy Land who had not died. Without the slightest bit of mercy, a dragon flame instantly engulfed Fairy Greenwood. There was a smile on Fairy Greenwood's face, and there was also relief. I'm finally free. My Qing clan has done too many bad things. I already knew that such a day would come. However, Yi Fei, don't be too happy too early. Our Star Moon Holy Land may not be able to kill you, but our young master in the Royal Wind City will definitely kill you to avenge our Qing clan. Whoosh! The raging flames whistled, and in the blink of an eye, the peerless beauty Fairy Greenwood had already turned into smoke. Yi Fei could not help but sigh. The evils we bring upon ourselves are the hardest to bear. Don't worry, your Qing clan will not have the chance to take revenge, because I will personally kill your young master and completely destroy this land of evil. My big brother, now is not the time to sigh. That dragon tortoise actually chased us all the way here from the Xieshio Sea. How much hatred does it have for us? Xia Jun looked at the gigantic tortoise that was slowly descending from the sky, and he almost fainted from fright. Even a supreme expert could be killed with a single breath. He was only at the 9th level of Wu Jun's cultivation. Seeing the dragon tortoise descend, Hu Yanqiao was also dumbfounded. Could it be that the Star Moon Holy Land was destroyed by this dragon tortoise? No wonder there was such a huge commotion on the ground. Young Master Yi, what should we do? Hu Yanqiao was not afraid of death, but he was afraid that the group of children beside him would be implicated. The little girl in Yi Fei's arms stretched out her withered arms and tightly hugged Yi Fei's neck. Seeing how terrifying the dragon tortoise was, her body was already trembling in fear. Yi Fei quickly patted her back and comforted her. Don't be afraid, we are here. Xia Jun, take them and retreat underground first. I will deal with this dragon tortoise. After saying that, Yi Fei handed the little girl in his arms to Xia Jun. Xia Jun could not help but worry. He was no longer the rookie he was before, so he could naturally see the huge gap between Yi Fei and the dragon tortoise. Big brother, can you do it? Young Master Yi, why don't we hide underground together? Hu Yanqiao was also very worried. Yi Fei shook his head and waved his hand, chasing Hu Yanqiao and the others back underground. Then, he strode towards the dragon tortoise. Roar! When the dragon tortoise saw Yi Fei, it immediately let out a furious roar. As the saying goes, when enemies meet, their eyes turn red. Moreover, in the dragon tortoise's eyes, Yi Fei was not just an enemy, but a mortal enemy who had humiliated it. Even if it killed everyone in the Star Moon Holy Land, it would not be able to eliminate the immense anger it had towards Yi Fei. Boom! In the end, the dragon tortoise's huge body landed on the ground, creating 4 terrifying craters. Then, it opened its huge mouth, and was about to spit out terrifying dragon flames at Yi Fei. Xiao Qiao, it's your turn. Yi Fei was not stupid enough to fight the dragon tortoise head-on. Seeing that there was no one around, he quickly called Xiao Qiao out. Squeak! Seeing that the dragon tortoise still dared to be fierce towards Yi Fei, Xiao Qiao was so angry that he rushed out barefooted. Without even looking, he aimed his whip at the dragon tortoise. Roar! Roar! Seeing Xiao Qiao appear, the dragon tortoise's resentment soared to the sky. A terrifying rain of fire drifted down from the scorching sky. The dragon tortoise's huge body quickly shrank. At the same time, hundreds of dragon tortoises appeared in the nearby space. They all roared at Xiao Qiao provocatively. Xiao Qiao did not say anything. He held his vine whip and whipped it at a dragon tortoise without looking. But the vine whip instantly struck the dragon tortoise's back, leaving a crack. The dragon tortoise was dumbfounded on the spot. One had to know that during the time it was caught by Xiao Qiao, it had thought of many ways to avoid being hit by the vine whip. At this moment, it had even created hundreds of clones. How could Xiao Qiao see its main body with a single glance? The dragon tortoise refused to believe that Xiao Qiao was really so heaven-defying. After being whipped, its body became even smaller and the number of clones became even more terrifying. In any case, even if Yi Fei's eyes were sore from staring, he could not tell which of the thousands of dragon tortoises in front of him was the real dragon tortoise. Seeing that the dragon tortoise could actually turn into so many huge tortoises, Xiao Qiao's eyes lit up. Pa, 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 pa. Like before, Xiao Qiao did not even look. Countless vine whips targeted one of the huge tortoises and ruthlessly whipped it. The dragon tortoise screamed miserably as it let out violent and terrified roars. Chapter 855. Holy Land Treasury. The dragon turtle wanted to escape, but before it could, Xiao Qiao used all her strength and whipped the dragon turtle's shell with all her might. The turtle shell, which could not be destroyed by the explosion of the ground-penetrating 9 great energy, was instantly shattered by Xiao Qiao. The dragon turtle turned back into a palm-sized crystal turtle. It spun in circles and lay on the ground, foaming at the mouth. In the end, Xiao Qiao picked it up by its tail with a look of disgust. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Xiao Qiao gestured to Yi Fei again, indicating that the dragon turtle was a little naughty and that she did not want it anymore. She even made a gesture to throw the dragon turtle out. Xiao Qiao, don't. You should keep this dragon turtle for now. I'll think of a way to deal with it after some time. Yi Fei hurriedly stopped her. After all, this was a dragon turtle. Not only was it brutal, but it was also vengeful. If they threw the dragon turtle away, it could come to seek revenge at any time once it became stronger. It was safer to let Xiao Qiao look after it. Squeak! Xiao Qiao nodded her head, feeling somewhat wronged. Then, she threw out her vine whip in disgust and dragged the dragon turtle back. The dragon turtle, who was dragged back, looked at Yi Fei with eyes full of anger and brutality. It was quite happy when Xiao Qiao threw it out, thinking that it could finally be free. In the end, Yi Fei's words made the dragon turtle sink into the abyss of despair. Yi Fei did not know that while Xiao Qiao was teaching the dragon turtle a lesson. In a mysterious space, somewhere in Zhongzhou, the crystal wall guarded by the 12 Bailey clan experts suddenly spun violently. What's going on? The crystal wall is reacting so strongly. Oh no, we've been tricked. She's not in the Xiexio Sea at all. She ran back to Zhongzhou. That idiot Bailey Zhen, what is he doing? Stop talking. Immediately gather our strength and activate heavenly surveillance. As long as we catch her, not only will we become martial emperors, but we'll also become martial emperors soon. The 12 people immediately released 12 terrifying auras and injected them into the crystal wall. They prepared to activate the terrifying heavenly surveillance in an attempt to find something. Xiao Qiao carried the dragon turtle and revealed a rare look of worry. She looked at the sky and did not say anything. She quickly pointed in a direction, indicating that there were many treasures there. With a whoosh, Xiao Qiao entered the beast mark space. He covered himself with the small spiritual medicine blanket, grabbed the dragon turtle, and quickly fell asleep again. Yi Fei was stunned for a moment. By the time he reacted, Xiao Qiao was already sleeping soundly with Long Gui in his arms. Xiao Qiao has been acting a little strange recently. Why does she sleep so often? Could it be that she's working hard on her cultivation? Yi Fei faintly felt that Xiao Qiao had been acting a little strange recently. But before he could figure it out, sensing that the battle on the ground had ended, Xia Jun and Hu Yanqiao hurriedly rushed out. "Young Master Yi, are you all right?" Where's that dragon turtle?" Xia Jun and Hu Yanqiao were very puzzled. Yi Fei collected his thoughts and coughed a few times. Cough, cough. "That dragon turtle is also a reasonable turtle. After I had a deep conversation with it, it realized its mistake and left on its own." "It left on its own? Is that okay?" Xia Jun and Hu Yanqiao were dumbfounded. No one would believe this. The dragon turtle was famous for being tyrannical. Since when did dragon turtles know how to reason with people? However, the skinny little girl heard something. She looked at Yi Fei curiously. Yi Fei quickly winked at her. After all, Xiao Qiao's matter involved too much. He did not want to get into too much trouble, so he did not give Xia Jun and Hu Yanqiao a chance to think. Yi Fei directly ordered, "Xia Jun, you stay here and protect these children. Lao Hu, you are responsible for collecting the spatial belts of the dead cultivators." After the dragon turtle's rampage, the Star Moon Holy Land had become a land of death. Of course, Yi Fei would not let go of the opportunity to plunder. Just as Hu Yanqiao began to move and used his unique stealing technique to search for treasures, Yi Fei also quickly rushed in the direction Xiao Qiao had given him. In the end, Yi Fei arrived at the deepest part of the Holy Land. This was also the place where the Qing family's patriarch usually cultivated. It seems that the hidden treasures of the Star Moon Holy Land should be in this building. Yi Fei released his divine sense and quickly searched inch by inch. Soon, he discovered a special place. Not only was it protected by a magic array, but there was also a very tight stone door. However, the magic array had already been destroyed when the dragon turtle was wreaking havoc. The remaining stone door was simply unable to block the sword light condensed from Yi Fei's terrifying Azura power. With just one slash, the stone door had already shattered into pieces. Behind the stone door, Yi Fei also saw the corpses of more than a dozen old absolute earth-shattering powerhouses. Yi Fei understood that they should be the last hidden strength of the Qing family. In the end, they were still no match for the dragon turtle and were killed by the dragon turtle's roar behind the stone door. It's a pity that these absolute earth-shattering powerhouses did not die naturally. Otherwise, they would have definitely left behind many talent crystals when they died. When Yi Fei thought of the numb children outside who had been tortured by the Star Moon Holy Land, he felt a wave of pain in his heart. After plundering the spatial belts of these powerhouses, Yi Fei quickly found the key to the Star Moon treasury in one of the spatial belts. When he opened the heavy stone door of the treasury, an astonishing spiritual energy whirlwind blew out, causing Yi Fei to almost lose his footing. The Star Moon Holy Land actually accumulated such a huge amount of wealth. Yi Fei found it hard to believe. He saw over 1 billion high-grade spirit stones on the ground, a large number of elixirs, saint artifacts, and over 20 saint bones on the table in the center. Yi Fei finally understood why the Star Moon Holy Land would secretly do such a thing despite being a holy land. The profits here were simply too shocking. Fortunately, I came early. If the Star Moon Holy Land was allowed to continue existing, who knows how many children would have been killed by them? Yi Fei shook his head. Originally, he felt that using the dragon turtle to destroy the Star Moon Holy Land might be a little cruel. However, when he saw the children being tortured and the huge amount of wealth, Yi Fei felt that he had been too lenient. He should have killed all those evil people with his sword. However, although the Star Moon Holy Land has been destroyed, there is still a young master who brought my sister to the Royal Wind City. He better not harm my sister. Otherwise, I will definitely make him die an ugly death. Yi Fei's eyes flashed with a vicious light. Then, he rushed into the treasury and wantonly plundered. I can use the high-grade spirit stones myself. As for the low-grade spirit stones, I'll leave them all to Xiao Chao as snacks. Damn, there are a total of 50 saint bones. It's not the 20 that I previously estimated. No wonder the Star Moon Holy Land did not have much of a reaction when Hu Yanchao stole 10 saint bones. This is a classic example of being rich and overbearing. Great, with these spirit stones and saint bones, I can finally break through without worry. Yi Fei quickly swept away all the spirit stones and saint bones on the ground. Chapter 856. Half a demonic scripture. Normally, the most inconspicuous place was also the easiest place to hide treasures. Yi Fei had experienced this kind of lesson more than once. Seeing that the stone slab was somewhat strange, he immediately pushed the offering table to the side and lifted the stone slab. Haha, this Star Moon Holy Land is quite cunning. They actually hid a cultivation technique and martial technique in the cracks of the stone slab. Luckily, I discovered it. Yi Fei picked up the cultivation technique manual hidden under the stone slab. He discovered that the material of this manual was very strange. It was actually made from the skin of a strange vicious beasts that he had never seen before. There were many star-like characters written on it. This is a martial monarch used the power of the stars to draw the starry sky. This Star Moon Holy Land is not simple. This cultivation technique is clearly a classic. The complete martial Tao was divided into cultivation techniques and martial technique. Cultivation techniques created by martial monarchs were usually called classic. They represented the essence of the martial Tao. Cultivation techniques created by martial emperors were called Tao scriptures. At the same time, above the classics and Tao scriptures, there was the legendary divine scriptures. They represented the limits of the martial Tao. However, divine scriptures were like martial gods. They were illusory. At the very least, Yi Fei had never heard of a divine scripture in the Tianwu continent. Even the war god Tao that Yi Fei cultivated was only a Tao scripture. Unexpectedly, the Star Moon Holy Land also hid a Tao scripture. I have to carefully read it. Undying Sword Spirit, help me quickly comprehend it. There was only Yi Fei here. Naturally, he did not have any misgivings. He released the Undying Sword Spirit and used the black energy released by the Sword Spirit to crazily increase his comprehension. Originally, for a Tao scripture, it would take 10 days to half a month to comprehend it. Even many heaven-defying geniuses would find it difficult to completely comprehend it. For cultivators with insufficient comprehension, they would need to spend several years or even several decades to comprehend some superficial knowledge. That was the true meaning of a painstaking effort. However, Yi Fei, with the unlimited comprehension of the Undying Sword Spirit, only spent 2 hours to read through the entire Tao scripture in his hand. I was wondering how this scripture could be comprehended so quickly. It turns out that it is not complete. There is only one volume. The Star Moon Holy Land's Star Moon demonic art was created by the Qing family after piecing together many evil techniques based on this scripture's superficial knowledge. Yi Fei looked at the half of the Star Moon demonic sutra in his hand and shook his head helplessly. If it was a complete classic, he would still be interested in learning it. However, this was only half a classic. Learning it would not be of much use. Instead, it would be a waste of his time. However, although I don't have the time to learn this classic, I can keep it as a reference. Yi Fei looked at the Star-Moon Demonic Sutra in his hand and thought for a moment before putting it away. In the end, he swept everything in the treasury into his interspatial belt. Even so, Yi Fei had to fill 10 interspatial belts before emptying the treasury of the Star-Moon Holy Land. Yi Fei did not plan to sell these treasures of the Holy Land. Instead, he thought to himself, as the saying goes, riches and honor are not as good as returning to one's hometown. Now that I have emptied the treasury of a Holy Land, if I can think of a way to bring these things back to the family Yi would have access to the Holy Land's treasury. Then the Yi family would possess the resources of a Holy Land. Even if they didn't establish a kingdom, the Yi family would still become the uncrowned king of the northern region. Uncle Jian and the others would also be able to live a safer life. In the end, the words of the northern region's tomb keeper still gave Yi Fei some pressure. Even if he did not know what was sealed behind the stone door by the great Emperor Wang Qing. However, Yi Fei knew that with the current strength of the northern region, once the thing behind the stone door escaped, the people of the northern region would immediately be plunged into misery and suffering. Although I am a little unwilling, I still have to think of a way to break through to the martial monarch realm within 100 years. Then, I will return to the northern region to investigate the origins of that stone door. Yi Fei pondered as he walked out. After the dragon turtle wreaked havoc in the Star-Moon Holy Land, it had long been reduced to complete ruins. At this moment, Hu Yanchao was among the ruins, quickly searching for the spatial belts of the dead people. Xia Jun was at the side, helping to tidy up the veins in the children's bodies, as well as various internal injuries. Xia Jun cursed as he treated the children's injuries, these bastards from the Star-Moon Holy Land. In order to let these children cultivate the Star-Moon demonic art as soon as possible, they actually injected demonic qi into their bodies to numb their souls. If this is not handled properly, it might damage their martial arts foundations. Don't worry, their foundations will not be damaged. I can also remove the demonic qi in their bodies, Yi Fei said with a smile as he walked over. In any case, he had comprehended the Star-Moon demonic art. Even if Yi Fei did not intend to cultivate it, with his comprehension, removing the demonic qi would not be a problem. Brother Yi, will we become better after removing the demonic qi in our bodies? Will we be able to live, cultivate, and protect ourselves like normal children? The skinny little girl walked over and stretched out her skinny arm embarrassedly. Can my arm return to how it used to be? As the little girl spoke, she could not hold back her tears. Seeing this, Xia Jun felt inexplicably sad. He quickly turned his head away. In any case, he was Wu Jun, a titled battle pet warrior. How embarrassing would it be for him to cry in front of a group of children? Yi Fei looked at the little girl and heaved a sigh. After comprehending the Star-Moon demonic art, he already knew that the little girl had become like this because too much demonic qi had been injected into her body, which had consumed her vitality. If there were no accidents, in less than 10 years, even if the Qing family did not take away her special constitution, the demonic qi in her body would take her life. You will. I promise you will become the same as before. You can cultivate, you can use your own strength to protect yourselves. You all have special constitutions. As long as you are willing to work hard, you will be able to go further than most warriors. Yi Fei looked at the little girl seriously. Then, a ray of purple and gold light suddenly appeared in his hand and was slowly transferred into the little girl's body. Brother Yu, Xia Jun was shocked. This was because what was burning on Yi Fei's body was his blood essence. At the same time, blood essence was the source of life. Once a martial artist's blood essence was exhausted, they would die no matter how powerful they were. Don't worry. To get rid of the demonic chi, I must use my blood essence. Given the number of primordial spirits I have, I can consume half of my blood essence, and there won't be any problem," Yi Fei said confidently. At the same time, 12 rays of purple and gold light emerged from behind him. Those rays of purple and gold were as dazzling as the sun. Only then did Xia Jun remember that Yi Fei had 12 primordial spirit. His vitality was 12 times greater than that of warriors of the same rank. 12 times the life potential. His primordial spirits are indeed freakish. "Even I want to condense another primordial spirit," Xia Jun mumbled. But that was just a thought. How could it be so easy to condense primordial spirits? When Yi Fei was able to condense 12 primordial spirits, half of it was because he was forced to do so, and the other half was because of the power of the Saint Bodhi. The Saint Bodhi was the most precious treasure of the Azura of the Blood Realm. Such treasures were usually hard to come by. Chapter 857. Strange scene. Yi Fei's life potential had been burning for an entire day. If it were any other cultivator, they would have died a long time ago. Even with the support of the 12 primordial spirits, Yi Fei was so tired that he felt dizzy and almost fainted. After removing the demonic energy from the last child's body, Xia Jun, who had returned, could not believe his eyes. He saw that Yi Fei's black hair had turned white, and even his sideburns were snow-white. This was clearly a sign that his blood essence had been depleted and his lifespan had been exhausted. "Big brother!" Xia Jun felt a lump in his throat. "Big brother Yi!" The little girl and the group of children were already crying. Now that the demon chi had been removed, they were no longer numb. They knew that they had finally escaped from the darkness. It was Yi Fei who had used his own life to give them hope. Good. It seems that you have all recovered well." Yi Fei's voice was filled with exhaustion and a trace of age. In just a few days, Yi Fei had turned from a heroic youth to a lethargic old man. However, Yi Fei did not regret his decision. Seeing Xia Jun's worried expression, Yi Fei laughed heartily. "Xia Jun, what are you crying for? I'm not dead yet. It's just that my blood essence has been depleted. It's not like I can't replenish it. Devouring sword force, devour." Boom. The 12 primordial spirits behind Yi Fei suddenly exploded with a dazzling light. At the same time, 12 terrifying black holes appeared behind him. Yi Fei was willing to help these children regardless of the cost, not only because he sympathized with them, but also because he was confident that he could quickly replenish the essence blood he had lost. The source of this confidence was the billions of high-grade spirit stones that he had obtained from the Star Moon Holy Land. Spirit stones had wonderful effects. They could replenish true yuan and heal injuries. Of course, they could also replenish the blood essence that he had depleted. At this time, Yi Fei took out all the high-grade spirit stones he had obtained and allowed the black hole behind him to devour them. Xia Jun's eyes widened when he saw the amount. More than 1 billion upper-grade spirit stones? The Star Moon Holy Land actually had such a huge reserve of spirit stones? No wonder all the disciples of the Qing clan are Wu Jun. Even a pig with so many spirit stones could directly become a titled martial lord. Not to mention, the disciples of the Qing family even used the demonic art of stars and moon. Every single one of them obtained a decent special constitution. It's just that Big Brother used up such a huge amount of spirit stones, just like that. My heart aches when I see that. Xia Jun sighed and shook his head. This is also the most admirable aspect of young Master Yi. If it were anyone else, they would have long kept such an enormous amount of spirit stones for themselves. However, young Master Yi did not do that. Instead, he returned all of those spirit stones to the children by burning his blood essence. Hu Yanchao's expression was solemn and filled with deep admiration. I still don't understand. Even if he wants to remove the demonic aura, can't Big Brother do it slowly? Why is he in such a hurry? Xia Jun still could not understand. Hu Yanchao looked at Yi Fei with great admiration and muttered, I also just realized that these children have coexisted with the demonic aura for many years and have already developed a dependence on it. Once the demonic aura is removed, 90% of them will immediately become disabled. Another 50% will die within 3 to 5 months because of the loss of the demonic aura. Young Master Yi must have realized this. That's why he didn't hesitate to use his blood essence to help these children preserve their lives and special constitutions. Xia Jun was deeply shocked. He finally understood Yi Fei's painstaking effort. Not only does Big Brother want to save these children, he also wants to save their lives. With Big Brother's blood essence, not only will these children's lives not be in danger, but their special constitutions will also be preserved. Hu Yanchao nodded and agreed with Yi Fei's judgment. Suddenly, he looked at the surrounding boys and girls with an incomparably solemn expression. Did you all hear that? Young Master Yi not only saved your lives, he also saved your martial arts future. Why aren't you all kneeling down and worshipping young Master Yi? Remember, from now on, young Master Yi is your God and your faith. You can betray anyone, but you can't betray young Master Yi. That's right, Big Brother Yi saved us. He is our God and our faith. The children were moved to tears once again. Although they had been tortured by the Star Moon Holy Land, they were not unreasonable. On the contrary, it was the dangerous environment that made them more sensible than anyone else. They understood that Yi Fei had only saved them in passing. If it were any other cultivator, they wouldn't have cared about their lives after saving them. This was because the moment the demon qi entered their bodies, their special constitutions were already equivalent to being crippled. However, Yi Fei did not do that. Instead, he returned the spirit stones and spiritual energy of the entire Star Moon Holy Land to them by burning his blood essence. He also completely saved them. From now on, Big Brother Yi is our greatest benefactor. No, Big Brother Yi is not our benefactor. He is our God. He is a God sent by the heavens to protect us. The children knelt down one after another and looked at Yi Fei with reverence. They didn't know if it was an illusion or not, but when the children knelt down and called Yi Fei a god in the middle of the 12 black holes, a tall illusory figure suddenly appeared behind Yi Fei, who was sitting cross-legged. The illusory figure gradually became clearer. It was the Golden War Demon that looked exactly like Yi Fei. It stood indomitable and let out a soundless roar towards the sky. Shortly after, another purple Yi Fei walked out from another black hole with a blood-red sword in his hand. His entire body was emitting a shocking battle intent. Boom! The instant the purple Yi Fei and the golden Yi Fei met, the two illusory figures actually erupted into a shocking battle. The golden Yi Fei furiously raised his golden sun-like fist and punched towards the sky like an enraged demon god. The purple Yi Fei coldly waved his blood-red sword. The sword light was like a meteor that could shatter the starry sky. What's going on? Why are there 3 big brothers Yi? The children cried out in alarm. They didn't understand what was going on. Phenomenon, it's actually a phenomenon. And 2 of them appeared at the same time. Could it be that young Master Yi also has a special bloodline? Hu Yanchao was extremely shocked. Special bloodline? How is that possible? If Big Brother had a special bloodline, he would have told us long ago. Xia Jun shook his head in shock. He knew Yi Fei well. If Yi Fei really had a special bloodline, there was no need for him to hide it from them. But other than a special bloodline, I really can't think of any other martial arts that can produce such a terrifying phenomenon. Hu Yanchao looked at the 2 godfiends fighting in the void. He felt his soul tremble. Clearly, these 2 phenomena were extremely terrifying. Even a mighty figure would find it difficult to resist the effects of such a phenomenon. Sitting cross-legged in the void, Yi Fei absorbed spiritual energy with all his might to replenish his blood. He didn't know how great of an impact his actions had on the Devil Emperor Sutra and the God of War path. Behind Yi Fei, the two terrifying figures were still clashing wildly. They couldn't wait to kill each other. In Yi Fei's body, the Devil Emperor Sutra and the God of War path were circulating wildly. This circulation had even surpassed the limits of Yi Fei's circulation. In an instant, the Devil Emperor Sutra broke through to the 7th level and reached the limit of the martial sage realm. In an instant, the God of War path shone brightly and reached the 3rd level. This also allowed Yi Fei to enter the 3rd level of the ancient genius realm. Boom! In the end, the Azura power of the God of War path was still stronger. Behind Yi Fei, the purple figure shattered the golden Yi Fei with a sword. With boundless power, it turned into a ray of light and firmly occupied Yi Fei's dantian and primordial spirit. Roar! Before the golden Yi Fei shattered, it let out a soundless roar. It didn't disappear. Instead, it turned into a rain of golden specks that helplessly merged with Yi Fei's flesh and every cell. What's going on? Young Master Yi seems to be cultivating two powerful martial arts at the same time. Moreover, these two martial arts seem to be clashing with each other. It seems like he's going to fight to the death? Hu Yanchao was a little dumbfounded. This was beyond the scope of his understanding. Chapter 858. Yi Shenzong, the power of Azura and the power of the War Demon are actually clashing with each other. They both seem to want to take control of my primordial spirit. What's going on? Could it be that I've really taken the wrong path? When the vision disappeared, Yi Fei finally awoke from his cultivation. A strange look flashed across his face. Clearly, the power of Azura and the power of the War Demon couldn't coexist peacefully. When Yi Fei was at his peak, he could still suppress these two powers. Once Yi Fei weakened, these two powers would fight with each other again, each wanting to destroy the other. But now, it seemed impossible for Yi Fei to give up on one of the powers. That was because the two powers had completely fused with his body. Destroying one of them would mean losing half of his cultivation. Yi Fei couldn't make up his mind. Moreover, if he lost one of the two powers, he wouldn't be able to condense the purple gold Tai Chi again. Looks like I can only take one step at a time. I hope that I can find a way to resolve the conflict between these two powers after entering the sacred court. Yi Fei thought to himself. At this moment, under the nourishment of more than 1 billion upper-tier spiritual stones, Yi Fei's depleted qi and blood was replenished. Yi Fei even had a feeling that his qi and blood were stronger than before. If it weren't for the fact that he didn't have enough spiritual stones on him, he could even try to break through to the earth-penetrating level 4. Indeed, without destruction there can be no construction. If I hadn't helped these kids out of kindness, I wouldn't have discovered the hidden problem with the Battle God Path and the Devil Emperor Sutra. I would have completely stabilized my foundation and laid a good foundation for breaking through to the earth-penetrating level 4. Yi Fei slowly opened his eyes and put away the 12 dazzling black holes behind him. The group of kids also looked at Yi Fei, who had descended from the sky, in shock. Their eyes were filled with surprise, admiration, and reverence. "Brother Yi, are you a god in heaven?" The first to speak was still the little girl. At this time, she was no longer skinny. Under the nourishment of Yi Fei's large amount of blood essence, her skinny body had become plump, and she had become like an ordinary girl. "Ha ha ha, I'm not a god. I'm just like all of you, the most ordinary of people." All in all, Yi Fei was in a good mood. He picked up the little girl again, and looked at Hu Yanchao and Xia Jun in confusion, casting an inquiring look at them. Xia Jun said telepathically, "Big brother, when you broke through, Lao Hu has already made you a god in the hearts of these children. He wants them to worship you like a god in the future." "Lao Hu, why are you doing this?" Yi Fei looked at Hu Yanchao in surprise. Hu Yanchao looked at these children worriedly, and said to Yi Fei telepathically, "Young Master Yi, since we have rescued these children, we can't just leave them be. What I mean is that you should take them in as disciples or followers." They all have special constitutions. When they grow up, they will be a very powerful force. Yi Fei's face darkened. He hadn't even solved his own problem, so how could he dare to take in so many disciples? Wouldn't that be leading them astray? Xia Jun also complained. These children need at least 10 years to grow up. We can't keep protecting them for 10 years and do nothing, right? Yi Fei nodded. Indeed, there were too many children. It was okay to take 1 or 2 with them, but if they took more than 80 at once, he and Xia Jun would definitely be restrained. It would be difficult for them to escape if they encountered danger. More importantly, the Sacred Academy wouldn't allow them to bring their families into the Sacred Academy, right? Hu Yanchao said with a smile, "Young Master Yi, I understand your difficulties. I've thought about this for a long time. Anyway, I'm old and no longer qualified to join the Sacred Academy, so I've decided to stay and protect these children. Young Master Yi, you just need to provide a safe place for these children." A safe place for me? Yi Fei was stunned again when he heard this, but he also felt that this was a good idea. After all, these children came from different regions. It would take a year or even several years to go back and forth. Yi Fei didn't have time to send them back one by one in a short time. Since Hu Yanchao was willing to stay and take care of these children, it couldn't be better. "Lao Hu, why don't you take them to the Chaotic Ocean? That's the territory of my Divine Fist School. Many of my elder brother's friends are also cultivating there. They can take care of each other." Xia Jun thought of a good place to settle these children down. Yi Fei thought about it. The Chaotic Ocean was indeed a good place. Currently, the Divine Fist School was the biggest there. Jing Wushou and the others were also cultivating there temporarily. The children who could be taken away by the Star Moon Holy Land all had the best special physiques. After 10 years, when these children grew up, they would become a force that couldn't be underestimated. The Outer Sea couldn't be compared to the Central State. Basically, any Earth extermination Almighty could dominate an area in the Outer Sea. With Hu Yanchao's Earth extermination first stage strength, even if he took care of more children, there wouldn't be any danger. "Lao Hu, since you have the heart to take care of these children, then go to the Chaotic Ocean. I have many friends there. They can also take care of you. The prerequisite is that they must be willing. If any of them want to go home, don't force them," Yi Fei warned Hu Yanchao. Hu Yanchao nodded repeatedly. Looking at these children, he thought of his son who had died tragically. Because of this, Hu Yanchao resolutely decided to give up the martial Tao and focus on nurturing these children. He wasn't nurturing them for himself. Instead, he was nurturing them for Yi Fei. Yi Fei also didn't know that ever since he promised to help Hu Yanchao take revenge and personally destroyed the Star Moon Holy Land, Hu Yanchao, the Eastern States Thief King, had already made up his mind to follow Yi Fei even though he didn't say anything. Soon, Hu Yanchao gathered the children again and told them Yi Fei's plan to settle them down. Contrary to Yi Fei's expectations, over 80 children actually all chose to go to the Chaotic Ocean. None of them requested to go home. It turned out that these children were captured by the Star Moon Holy Land when they were very young. After almost 10 years of torture, they had already forgotten everything. To them, Yi Fei was willing to take them in and let Hu Yanchao protect them to the Chaotic Ocean. This was undoubtedly a brand new beginning. "Big Brother Yi, after we go to the Chaotic Ocean, will we be able to see you again?" The little girl tightly hugged Yi Fei's neck and wiped her tears with all her might. "Definitely. As long as you all work hard in your cultivation and become stronger, you will definitely be able to see me again," Yi Fei replied very seriously. "And then we must work hard in our cultivation. When we grow up and become stronger, we will follow you." The children shouted together. Then, they followed Hu Yanchao and left the sinful ruins of the Star Moon Holy Land. On the way, the children also curiously asked Hu Yanchao, "Uncle Hu, what are we going to do in the Chaotic Ocean this time? Will you teach us martial cultivation and make us stronger? Yes, Uncle will definitely make you all powerful cultivators. Not only that, Uncle will also lead you all to establish the most powerful sect in the external endless ocean and give young Master Yi a surprise. What do you all think? Hu Yanchao chuckled. Looking at the children who gradually recovered their liveliness, his face was filled with gratification. Uncle Hu, then what is the name of our sect? The little girl innocently asked. Hearing this, Hu Yanchao was stunned. Then, he thought of the two terrifying manifestations behind Yi Fei and firmly said, I think we should call it Divine Sect Yi. Divine Sect Yi? When the children heard this name, their eyes gradually brightened. This is Big Brother Ye's sect. We must work hard to become stronger and not disappoint Big Brother Ye's expectations of us. The children's young faces were filled with hope for the future and unprecedented determination. Chapter 859. Royal Wind City. The autumn wind was bleak and the yellow leaves were like sand. In the blink of an eye, another year had passed from the outer sea to the central region. On this day, in a certain mountain forest in the Royal Wind City, a huge golden light suddenly flashed, scaring the vicious beasts into hibernation and startling the passers-by. TSK, I wonder who it is. He actually broke through to the 10th stage of Wu Jun outside our Royal Wind City. He must be a young prodigy who is rushing here. How can someone of the 10th stage of Wu Jun be called a prodigy? There are hundreds of royal cities in the Snow Wind Empire. Our Royal Wind City can also be ranked in the top 10. The prodigies in our Royal Wind City can also be ranked in the top 50 in the imperial capital. The golden light in the mountain forest didn't attract much attention in the Royal Wind City. There were simply too many Wu Jun experts in the Royal Wind City. Any random disciple from a family clan would be a titled Wu Jun absolute ground realm experts could be seen everywhere on the street. They were like mortal peddlers, setting up stalls to sell all sorts of treasures. However, very few people would take a look at them. The true prodigies of the Royal Wind City didn't lack treasures. What they lacked was time and the opportunity to make a great leap. And this opportunity was right in front of them. The decennial Heaven and Earth Supreme Leaderboard was about to begin. Even though there were still 2 years left, there were still countless young prodigies gathered in the various royal cities of the Snow Wind Empire. In the end, these prodigies would meet in the royal cities and compete with each other. Then, they would decide if they had the strength to head to the imperial capital and participate in the Heaven Supreme Leaderboard battle. Therefore, the Royal Wind City was currently at its most lively and prosperous time. Every day there would be young prodigies competing in the city. Some would become famous in the Royal Wind City, while some would leave quietly. At this moment there were 2 youths, one in black and one in white, flying rapidly towards the city gate from afar. These 2 youths were none other than Yi Fei and Xia Jun. Yi Fei was wearing a black purple-gold robe. Although he was low-key, there was a hint of mystery. Xia Jun was wearing a white crescent moon robe. Although he was flamboyant, there was a hint of excitement. I, Xia Jun, have finally made a name for myself and reached the 10th stage of Wu Jun. If my Divine Fist Sex book of our world knows about this, my father's heart realm expert. Brother. Yi. Big brother, don't worry. Your sister is my sister. Once we enter the city, we can just kill that young Master Xing Yu and save my sister. Xia Jun comforted him. Yi Fei rolled his eyes. Fine. I heard that young Master Xing Yu is the #1 genius in the sacred ground. He's an earth-penetrating 6th stage almighty. If you're capable, go and kill him. Cough. Big brother, I've thought about it. As your little brother, how can I steal your limelight? How about this, I'll leave young Master Xing Yu to you, and I'll protect your sister. Xia Jun immediately changed his mind. Yi Fei kicked him without hesitation. Get lost as far as your thoughts can go. Who's your sister? You're obviously up to no good. Yi Fei would definitely not give Xia Jun the chance to get close to his sister. Xia Jun looked very wronged. Yi Fei was not going to let Xia Jun get close to his sister. What's wrong with having a harem? What's wrong with loving beautiful women? Boom! Before Xia Jun could finish his sentence, he suddenly felt that there were at least 50 female earth-penetrating almighties staring at him with murderous gazes. Some of them were hot-tempered, and they even made a throat-slitting gesture. Yi Fei couldn't be bothered with them, and he landed at the city gate. What are you doing? King City's style was indeed different. The guards at the city gate were two invincible martial kings. Maybe it was because they had seen too many experts. Even though they realized that Yi Fei was an earth-penetrating almighty, they weren't afraid at all. Yi Fei quickly stated his intention. We are here to participate in the Heaven and Earth Supreme ranking list. I see. Looking at your attire, you should be geniuses from overseas. If you want to participate in the Heaven and Earth Supreme ranking list, you have to go to Merchant Union or Sun Luo Hall and get them to vouch for you. Then, you can enter Royal Wind City and get the right to register. The two guards instantly became respectful. Those who could participate in the Heaven and Earth Supreme ranking list were all experts. They couldn't afford to offend them. Yi Fei then knew that if foreign ancient martial art practitioners wanted to participate in the Heaven and Earth Supreme ranking list, they had to go through a qualification check before they had the chance to register. The ones in charge of vouching were Merchant Union and Sun Luo Hall. Forget about Merchant Union. A black market like Sun Luo Hall could exist openly in King City. It showed how terrifying the power behind Sun Luo Hall was. Big brother, who should we go to for vouching for us? Xia Jun came over and asked anxiously. He already saw that a few female almighties had locked onto him with their soul consciousness. If it weren't for Yi Fei, they might have come over to have a heart-to-heart talk with Xia Jun. Yi Fei was speechless. He pulled Xia Jun and walked inside. Let's go to Sun Luo Hall. It was said that Sun Luo Hall wasn't just a black market. They could also gather information. This was better than Merchant Union. Yi Fei wanted to gather information about young Master Azura and his sister through Sun Luo Hall. Following the directions of the guards at the city gate, Yi Fei arrived at the palace built by Sun Luo Hall in no time. It had to be said that Sun Luo Hall was really arrogant. It was a black market, but they dared to build a palace in the busiest area of King City. Many ancient martial art practitioners walked in and out of the palace. Of course, most of the ancient martial art practitioners covered their faces and hid their whereabouts in fear of being discovered. Yi Fei didn't have such concerns. He walked in directly. The manager of Sun Luo Hall welcomed him immediately. Misters, are you here for Sun Luo Hall to vouch for you to participate in the Heaven and Earth Supreme ranking list? That's right. What should we do? Yi Fei asked. Very simple. Tell us your name and appearance. We will investigate if you have ever harmed Snow Wind Empire or been blacklisted by Saint Academy. If not, you can pass. Of course, you have to pay 10,000 upper-grade spiritual stones. The manager smiled and said. Yi Fei smiled so much that he wanted to kick him. Xia Jun even scolded, What? 10,000 upper-grade spiritual stones for registration? Do you have to be so greedy? Mister, this is Sun Luo Hall's rule. If you are not willing, then. When the manager was in a difficult position, a voice suddenly came from behind. Sun Luo Hall is not greedy. We have always been greedy. Of course, if the two of you are willing to sell the loot from Star Moon Sanctuary to us, we can give you the qualification check for free. This is our sub-hall master, Jiang Wangyang. The manager quickly introduced him to Yi Fei. So it's Hall Master Jiang. While Yi Fei bowed, he was secretly surprised by Sun Luo Hall's intelligence. He had just exterminated Star Moon Sanctuary not long ago, and Sun Luo Hall had already found out that he was the culprit. It seems that Sun Luo Hall's intelligence is very strong. Yi Fei looked at Jiang Wangyang. It's normal. Sun Luohal is different from the Merchant Alliance. The Merchant Alliance does legitimate business and profits with a small capital. However, we do shady business. Naturally, we have to pay attention to all kinds of intelligence. Jiang Wangyang chuckled and said. Chapter 860. Birthday congratulations. Jiang Wangyang didn't beat around the bush with Yi Fei. He went straight to the point and suggested, Young Master Yi, don't worry. We're not targeting you. On the contrary, we have a big business deal to discuss with you. Business deal with me? Yi Fei was stunned for a moment before he understood. Since Jiang Wangyang knew that he had destroyed the Star Moon Holy Ground, he must also know that he had obtained a large amount of treasures from the Star Moon Holy Ground. Strictly speaking, these treasures were all illegal goods and the Merchant Alliance wouldn't be interested in them. However, to a black market like the Sun Luohal, these treasures were extremely eye-catching. Although the Star Moon Holy Ground has been destroyed, I remember that the young master of the Star Moon Holy Ground is also in the Wind Royal City. Aren't you afraid that he will come over and make a ruckus after hearing the news? Yi Fei deliberately probed. Jiang Wangyang laughed loudly. Come over and make a ruckus? Not to mention a young master of a small holy ground, even if the dean of the holy court came, our Sun Luohal wouldn't be afraid. Young Master Yi, don't worry. We've already sealed off the news of the Star Moon Holy Ground's destruction. If the young master wants to know, he will have to at least attend the Lin clan's birthday banquet. Lin clan's birthday banquet? The young master of the Star Moon Holy Ground came to the Wind Royal City to attend the Lin clan's birthday banquet? What relationship does the Lin clan have with the Star Moon Holy Ground? I wonder if I can attend this banquet? Yi Fei didn't expect that he would receive news of the young master of the Star Moon Holy Ground so quickly. And if he could find the young master of the Star Moon Holy Ground, he would be able to find his younger sister. He couldn't help but feel excited. Jiang Wangyang also immediately sensed Yi Fei's excitement. He instantly revealed a sly smile and changed the topic. Young Master Yi, why don't we talk about the treasures you obtained first? Yi Fei felt as if he was looking at a group of ferocious beasts running past him. He was extremely depressed. He had only revealed a little bit of his emotions, but this old fox had actually sensed that he was trying to fish for information. I can sell you a portion of the treasures I obtained. I can even sell you half of the Star Moon demonic scripture, but you must help me gather information about the young master of Star Moon and the Lin family. Yi Fei said in a deep voice. What? You still have half of the demonic scripture? Jiang Wangyang was a little surprised. As long as it was a classic, even half of it was priceless. Feeling Yi Fei's sincerity, Jiang Wangyang didn't beat around the bush. He looked deeply at Yi Fei and said, Young Master Xing Yu's Qing family was once a branch of the Lin family. Later, because of a mistake, he was expelled from the Qing family and established the Star Moon Holy Land. This is the relationship between young Master Xing Yu and the Lin family. As for the specific purpose of his visit, we still need to investigate further. What about the Lin family? How powerful is the Lin family? Yi Fei continued to ask. Jiang Wangyang said solemnly, the Lin family is the number one family in the Royal Wind City, second only to the Royal Jiang family. The ancestor of the Lin family broke through to the omnipotent great sage 200 years ago. Therefore, every 100 years, the Lin family will hold a banquet to celebrate this matter. Speaking up to this point, Jiang Wangyang paused for a moment. He took a deep look at Yi Fei and said, Mr. Yi, I don't care how you destroyed the Star Moon Holy Land. However, the same method will definitely not work on the Lin family. Even if you have any grudges, please be careful. Thank you for your reminder, Senior. I'm just curious about the Lin family. Oh right, I wonder if I can attend the Lin family's birthday banquet? Yi Fei asked with a smile. His heart sank. The Lin family actually has an omnipotent great sage. His plan to make use of the dragon turtle would undoubtedly be ruined. But when he thought about how his sister was still under the control of young Master Xingyu, even if he knew that the Lin family was a tiger's den, Yi Fei wouldn't hesitate to barge in. Hearing that Yi Fei was going to attend the birthday banquet, Jiang Wangyang was a little troubled. Those who could become sub-chiefs were all very shrewd. The calmer Yi Fei appeared, the more suspicious he was. Of course, Jiang Wangyang couldn't use Sun Luohal's name to get Yi Fei an invitation to the birthday banquet. But considering that Yi Fei had half of the demonic scripture, Jiang Wangyang still racked his brains and came up with a solution for Yi Fei. Young Master Yi, Sun Luohal has always been neutral and we can't give you an invitation to the birthday banquet. But you can try your luck at Northern Feng Mansion. The young prince of this generation, Jiang Qing, has always liked to make friends with heroes. Perhaps he can give you an invitation. Northern Feng Mansion, Jiang Qing? Alright, I'll keep that in mind. Yi Fei nodded. He knew that Jiang Wangyang had revealed so much to him because of that half of the demonic scripture. Since Yi Fei wasn't going to cultivate it anyway, he took it out right away and gave it to Jiang Wangyang along with a large number of space belts. Yi Fei had asked Hu Yanchao to collect these space belts after the dragon turtle destroyed the Star Moon sacred land. Yi Fei left half of them to Hu Yanchao and the children. Yi Fei planned to sell the other half in exchange for some spiritual stones to help him make a breakthrough. Young Master Yi, Sun Luohal will give you 300 million top-grade spiritual stones for these treasures. Are you satisfied? Jiang Wangyang did the final tally. Yes. Yi Fei nodded. Xia Jun was astonished. 300 million? That half of the demonic scripture is the most valuable. Yi Fei shook his head, then left with Xia Jun with the 300 million spiritual stones. The two found an inn in the city and stayed there for the time being. Yi Fei then tossed 100 million spiritual stones to Xia Jun and said, Xia Jun, stay here and cultivate for the time being. Wait for my news while you're here. Brother, you must be careful. Xia Jun knew that Yi Fei was going to go to the Lin family alone to rescue Yi Shanshan. Xia Jun couldn't help but hate himself for being so useless. If only he was a little more capable, he would be able to help Yi Fei instead of doing nothing. Cultivate, I have to cultivate as hard as I can. I, Xia Jun, didn't come to Zhongzhou to be a burden to you. I came here to become a hero and save thousands of beautiful girls from the abyss of suffering. Provoked, Xia Jun finally made up his mind. He locked himself in his room and began to cultivate like crazy. Northern Feng Mansion. It was the most splendid building in the entire Northern Feng City. Jiang Lianshan, the lord of Northern Feng City, was a very powerful omnipotent sage who dominated dozens of nearby cities. Of course, the martial artists guarding Northern Feng Mansion weren't very strong either. Two of them were Wu Jun's, and they were in charge of guarding the mansion. However, having met the powerful, they didn't look arrogant at all. Seeing Yi Fei, one of the two, Wu Jun, went up to him right away and asked politely, Sir, are you here on business or looking for someone? Do you need us to announce your arrival? I heard that Jiang Qing, the prince of Northern Feng Mansion, is very enthusiastic and generous, so I've prepared a small gift for you. Yi Fei took out a sacred bone that he had prepared beforehand. He didn't have time to make friends with Jiang Qing, so he decided to take out a valuable gift so that Jiang Qing would show up sooner. As expected, the two guards, Wu Jun, jumped at the sight of Yi Fei's sacred bone. Realizing that Yi Fei might be an important guest, they became much more respectful toward him. Chapter 861. Jiangqing. In the courtyard of Northern Feng Mansion, even a prince like Jiang Qing was surprised to hear that someone had given a sacred bone as a gift on their first meeting. Not even the people of Northern Feng Mansion can afford to give a sacred bone as a gift. What's that person's name? Which family is he from? Your Highness, He said his name is Yi Fei and that he came from the outer seas. The two titled battle pet warriors, Wu Jun, were confused. They knew that Jiang Qing had never been to the outer seas. Why would someone present him with such a gift? Jiang Qing couldn't help but feel even more curious. He was just about to send two people away to invite Yi Fei in, but after thinking about it, he decided to personally meet Yi Fei. Interesting. He gave me a sacred bone as soon as we met. It seems he is not here to befriend me. Instead, he is here to ask me for help. Jiang Qing quickly walked out. Outside, he saw a young man in a black, purple-gold robe standing there. Yi Fei stood very casually, unlike the other visitors who were respectful and reverent. Unlike many young geniuses who were arrogant because of their talents, Yi Fei stood at the entrance of the mansion in an easygoing manner. At first glance, Yi Fei was very low-key and inconspicuous. But upon a closer look, Yi Fei had a special aura. He always emitted a dazzling light when he wasn't paying attention. Interesting person. As the prince of the royal Wind City, Jiang Qing had seen countless young geniuses before. However, this was his first time seeing someone as low-profile as Yi Fei. He couldn't help but want to befriend him. "Are you Yi Fei? If Brother Yi wants to see me, you can just have a servant inform me. There's no need to give me such a valuable gift. If you treat me as a friend, then Brother Yi shouldn't treat me as an outsider." Jiang Qing walked over and returned the Saint Bone. His attitude was also very kind, and could be considered to be courteous to the wise. Yi Fei couldn't help but nod in his heart. Only now did he understand why Jiang Wangyang had such a high evaluation of Jiang Qing. This person indeed had some bearing. More importantly, not only was Jiang Qing the prince of Northern Feng Mansion, but he was also the most powerful cultivator in Northern Feng City. Even in the imperial capital, he could be ranked in the top 10. That was why Yi Fei had chosen to test Jiang Qing with the sacred bone. "Since your highness has said so, it seems that I have been rash. Fine, I will take back this saint bone." Yi Fei was also very straightforward. When Jiang Qing returned the sacred bone, Yi Fei immediately took it back. It was as if he wasn't the one who had given the sacred bone away. Jiang Qing was stunned for a moment before he realized that Yi Fei wasn't really going to give him the holy bone. Instead, he was using the holy bone to lure him out. After all, under normal circumstances, even if Yi Fei was a powerful cultivator, it would take him at least a day to meet the prince. And by then, Jiang Qing would have to wait for him. As the most powerful cultivator in Northern Feng City, and a prince himself, Jiang Qing had a lot of visitors every day. However, Jiang Qing found Yi Fei's unconventional behavior very interesting. "Brother Yi, you're in such a hurry to lure me out. Is there something I can help you with?" Jiang Qing asked straightforwardly. He didn't even look at the holy bone Yi Fei had put away. After all, Jiang Qing was a prince, and he wouldn't care about a few holy bones. What he was interested in was Yi Fei himself. Yi Fei couldn't help but think more highly of Jiang Qing. This man had an extraordinary bearing, and was someone worth making friends with. Hence, Yi Fei cut to the chase. "Your Highness, I'd like to attend the Lin family's birthday banquet, but I can't get an invitation. I heard that your Highness might have a way?" "The Lin family's birthday banquet? So that's the case. Brother Yi, you're here for the Lin family's third miss, right? It's no wonder. The Lin family's third miss is the most beautiful woman in our Northern Feng City. It's normal for Brother Yi to be attracted to her. However, the Lin family's invitation cards have already been sent out. If Brother Lin doesn't mind, you can wait for me outside the Lin family's manor at noon 2 days later. I'll bring you in. There are others." Yi Fei was stunned. "Haha, Brother Yi, do you know how many young men are attracted to the Lin family's third miss? The Lin family's invitation cards are limited. I won't hide it from Brother Yi. Before you, there were also many people who came to me for help. It's just that their methods weren't as unique as yours. Jiang Qing thought that he had seen through Yi Fei's intentions. He mocked Yi Fei. This Yi Fei was speechless. Only now did he know that Jiang Qing had misunderstood. However, this was fine too. In any case, his goal was to sneak into the Lin family's manor and find out about his sister's whereabouts. The process wasn't something Yi Fei cared about. Then many thanks, Your Highness. I'll definitely be there at noon 2 days later. Yi Fei cupped his fists gratefully towards Jiang Qing. You're too kind. It's rare to meet someone as wonderful as Brother Yi. Since I'm free, why don't we go in and have a few drinks? Jiang Qing felt that he couldn't see through Yi Fei and wanted to know more about him. Many thanks for Prince Ye's kindness. However, I need to cultivate for the next 2 days. If there's a chance after the birthday banquet, it won't be too late for me to pay you a visit. Yi Fei tactfully rejected. He thought that Jiang Qing would be angry, but who knew that Jiang Qing would have an understanding expression? He sighed and said, It seems that Brother Yi came prepared this time. You must be planning to perform well in front of the Lin family's third miss. Then I won't disturb Brother Ye's cultivation. I'll congratulate Brother Yi in advance. After speaking, Jiang Qing cupped his fists towards Yi Fei and walked back into the manor. Yi Fei also returned to the inn gloomily. Lin family's third miss, who is that? I just want to find my younger sister. However, this Prince Jiang Qing is not bad. Not only does he have the bearing of a king, but he also has a heroic spirit. When I find my younger sister, I have to thank him. When Yi Fei thought of this, he looked at Xia Jun's tightly shut door. He knew that Xia Jun was really cultivating hard inside and didn't dare to be negligent. Since there are still 2 days before the birthday banquet begins, then I have to cultivate hard in the remaining 2 days. It's best if I can break through to earth-penetrating level 4. After making up his mind, Yi Fei began to cultivate hard. Star Moon Inn. In the most luxurious guest room, a beautiful girl was carefully carving a wooden sculpture. She used a thin ice knife to carve it bit by bit. Soon, the lifelike image of a young man appeared on the wooden sculpture. The young man's lips had a trace of stubbornness and unyieldingness. It was as if nothing could defeat him. As she watched, tears welled up in the beautiful girl's eyes. Brother, it's already been 10 years. Why haven't you come to find Shanshan yet? Could it be that you've forgotten about Shanshan? This despicable Star Moon Holy Land. They deceived me back then and tricked me into coming here. I wonder if Brother has been well all these years? Brother, do you know that there's a scoundrel called Qingyang here? He wants to bully me every day. You'll definitely come to save me, right? Yi Shanshan looked at the sculpture in his hand. Finally, his tears turned into ice crystals and fell to the ground. The temperature of the entire Star Moon Inn suddenly dropped. This was the terror of the ice bloodline. Compared to back in Blackrock City, the ice energy in Yi Shanshan's body had become even more terrifying. Chapter 862. Surging in all directions, just as the temperature in the air dropped to the point where it was about to freeze, a scorching aura suddenly appeared in the air. Qing Yang. Yi Shanshan did not need to turn around to know who had barged into her room without permission. This person was the young master of the Star Moon Holy Land, Qing Yang. Qing Yang walked in drunkenly. When he saw Yi Shanshan carving Yi Fei's statue again, he immediately sneered in disdain. Shanshan, it's already been 10 years and you still refuse to give up. Do you really think that your trash of a brother can rush to the central region to save you in 10 years? Don't you dare insult my brother. I believe that my brother will definitely come. As long as he comes, he will definitely beat you to death. He will beat all of you Qing clan bastards to death. Yi Shanshan's face was filled with confidence. This was blind worship for Yi Fei. Qing Yang had never felt this kind of worship before. Even though he had liked Yi Shanshan since he was young and had always protected Yi Shanshan from being tainted by the other disciples of the Qing clan. However, when he saw Yi Shanshan's sparkling eyes every time she mentioned Yi Fei, Qin Yang was instantly enraged. He fiercely approached the woman in front of him and roared, "Yi Shanshan, wake up! Your brother is only a 10th grade Huang rank trash. No, in the central region, with such aptitude, he can't even be compared to trash. Even if he cultivates for his entire life, he won't be able to compare to a single fingernail of mine. Yi Shanshan, let me tell you, you only have two choices now. You can either marry me and become my woman. As long as you can help me break through to the omnipotent great sage realm, I might even send people to the northern region to bring your trash of a brother to the central region to enjoy life." Qin Yang looked at Yi Shanshan with a burning gaze. There was even a faint trace of greed in his eyes. One had to know that the ice bloodline was extremely powerful. If he could absorb it, Qin Yang was completely confident that he could become an omnipotent great sage within 10 years. Of course, this required Yi Shanshan herself to be willing. As long as Yi Shanshan was unwilling, the ice chi in her body could help or harm others. The Star Moon Holy Land had researched this for 10 years but could not find a way to break it. Qin Yang could only watch as Yi Shanshan became more and more beautiful day by day. Now that he was rejected again, Qin Yang was finally completely disappointed. He knew that he had no hope of getting Yi Shanshan. He immediately, Yang. You don't want to talk? Very well. Since I can't have you, I'll give you to the Lin family. I don't believe that you can still be so stubborn in front of the powerful Lin family. Remember, you still have 2 days. After 2 days, you can become my woman and help me break through to the Heavenly Grandmaster Great Sage. Otherwise, I'll give you to the Lin clan. With this contribution, I'll be able to enter the Martial Emperor's secret realm and break through to the Heavenly Overlord Great Sage. Ha 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 ha! Qin Yang walked out drunk with pride and arrogance. He knew that no matter what Yi Shanshan did in 2 days, he, the future omnipotent great sage, would not be able to escape. Lin Mansion. In order to prepare for the birthday celebration 2 days later, the elders of the Lin family had gathered together to discuss. Suddenly, an extremely beautiful but unruly young lady barged in angrily. "Father, what's wrong with you? The day after tomorrow is grandfather's birthday celebration. Why did you invite all the young geniuses? I also heard that you're going to hold some sort of martial arts competition and the winner will be able to marry me. Is that true?" The young lady was extremely angry. She said loudly, "I, Lin Shui, am the 3rd young lady of the Lin Mansion. My husband must at least be from the Golden Academy of the Holy Academy. Apart from Jiang Qing, who has some ability, the rest of the young geniuses in the Royal Wind City are either trash or rice bucket. Do you want to spend the rest of your life with a trash like me? I'd rather die." After saying this, Shui Lin ran out angrily. The group of elders of the Lin family were confused. They all looked at the head of the family, Feiying Lin, and said, "Head of the family, are you really going to choose a husband for the 3rd miss this time?" Lin Feiying had sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes. He waved his hand in a very imposing manner and said, "How is that possible? Unless it's a disciple of the Saint Institute, no one else can match up to my daughter. I'm only doing this to use Lin Shui to confuse the young geniuses in the Royal Wind City. Don't forget that the Martial Emperor's secret dimension will appear again soon." Martial Emperor's secret realm? So that's how it is. Family head wants to use the 3rd young lady to provoke the young geniuses in the Royal Wind City. We also need to figure out the strength of these people and eliminate them in advance. The elders of the Lin family were enlightened. They all began to discuss excitedly. The last time the Martial Emperor's secret realm appeared, our ancestor obtained a fortuitous opportunity and immediately became an omnipotent great sage. It's a pity that he couldn't pass the final stage. This time we can't fail again. However, we have to be careful of Jiang Qing. He's the strongest disciple of the Lin family. Compared to him, the disciples of the Lin family are still lacking. Humph, that's not necessarily true. The Lin family only has more resources than us. That's why Jiangqing was able to become the strongest disciple. Our Lin family's genius, Lin Ying, has received personal guidance from our ancestor. When he comes out of seclusion, he'll definitely surpass Jiangqing. He'll be the second omnipotent great sage of the Lin family. At the same time as the Lin family was plotting, the Xie had been turned upside down. Blood flowed like a river. Xie corpses were everywhere. Bai Lizhen stood in the middle of the corpses and let out an unwilling roar. Why is there still no news of her? I've searched the entire Xie and killed at least 10,000 Xie. Why can't I find any trace of her? Could it be that she knows that I'm hunting her, so she's hiding somewhere safe? Bai Lizhen naturally looked in one direction. After months of killing in the Xie, Bai Lizhen had searched the entire Xie. There was only one place that he hadn't touched. That was the territory of the Sunluo Hall. At this time, almost all the Xie in the Xie, including Lan Mo and the other Xie generals, were terrified by Bai Lizhen's killing. They had all hidden in the Sunluo Hall. Since he couldn't find any trace of her anywhere, the Dark Azura Hall naturally became Bai Lizhen's final target. Thinking of this, Bai Lizhen's expression turned ugly. The Sunluo Hall isn't like other places. If I mess around in the Sunluo Hall, the elders might not support me. Boom! Bai Lizhen was deep in thought when the sky above his head suddenly disappeared. Then, an old and angry voice came from it. Bai Lizhen, why are you still in the Xie? We've all been fooled. She's no longer in the Xie. She's escaped back to the central province. This is a trace of her aura. You must find this person. It's very likely that she's hiding on him. Whoosh! Another blurry image appeared in front of Bai Lizhen through a secret technique. It was the moment when Xiao Chao rushed out from Yi Fei's body. Chapter 863. The birthday banquet begins. It's him, I remember who he is now. He's the one I met when I first came to the Xie. I should have known, he must be the one who kidnapped her. Bai Lizhen was very angry. If he knew that his mission target was Yi Fei, he wouldn't have let go of Yi Fei so easily even if he was facing a half-saint like Na Chai. Bai Lizhen immediately felt like he had been played. I don't care who you are. Anyone who dares to stop me from completing my mission will die even more. Humph! Bai Lizhen coldly snorted. The devilish flames on his body became even more terrifying. Like a hurricane, Bai Lizhen disappeared from the sea. Since he knew Yi Fei's identity, he wouldn't continue to waste his time with this group of Xie. After Bai Lizhen left, the Xie and the Xie also received the news immediately. Countless people in the restaurants of the Sun Luo Temple secretly sighed in relief. Great, that terrifying central continent genius is finally gone. Sigh, I don't know what our Xie did to offend him. He actually wanted to kill us all. TCH, a good-for-nothing brat actually scared you all away. The heretical cultivators nowadays are really too weak to be so scared. The Xie were secretly happy. However, there was also a strange person in the restaurant. A mocking voice came from the restaurant. This voice made the Xie angrily turn around to look. However, the result stunned them. The person who spoke was very strange. Not only was his entire body covered in a black robe, only his eyes were exposed. The strangest thing was that this person clearly ordered a table full of delicacies, but he didn't eat a single bite. Instead, he lowered his head and kept sniffing. Shit, who is this? Is there something wrong with his head? There are so many weirdos in our Xie. The Xie's discussion did not affect this strange man's appetite at all. He continued to sniff in high spirits. At the same time, he angrily scolded the Xie who had strange expressions on their faces. What are you looking at? Haven't you seen this master's elegant and unique way of eating? Waiter, give this master another 100 dishes. But sir, you haven't eaten the 50 dishes you ordered yet. You didn't pay either. The waiter's tone revealed a hint of suspicion. This strange person's behavior was really too strange. The waiter's words gave the eccentric a fright. He scratched his head and said embarrassedly, "What? Sir, you have to pay for your meal? Oh no, I'm busy. Why don't I owe you first and pay you when I'm free?" The surrounding CSO's faces suddenly darkened. Someone actually dared to dine and dash in their territory. The hotel manager was already laughing sinisterly and brought a large group of CSO to surround him. Haha, he actually dares to act like a master here after ordering. Listen up, break his limbs and throw him out to feed the dogs. Not long after. Sir, please take care. Sir, you're welcome to come back later. Sir, the 100 dishes you ordered are ready. Do you want to take them away? The passers-by on the road were also very shocked to see this scene. He could still walk out in such a flashy manner after eating and dashing. Could it be that another great person had appeared in our CSOC? Unexpectedly, the eccentric man did not accept their kindness. Instead, he lightly waved his hand and said, "Forget it, I don't have a good appetite today. I'll leave the food for now. I'll eat when I'm done with my business." "When will you be back, sir?" Hearing that the eccentric man wanted to come back for a second meal, even though the manager was a CSO, he almost cried on the spot. In the blink of an eye, there was only 1 day left before the Lin family's birthday banquet began. Yi Fei's door was still tightly shut. I didn't expect that breaking through to Earth penetrating level 4 would consume a total of 200 million upper spiritual stones instead of the previous 120 million. Yi Fei realized that he had underestimated the terrifying consumption of spiritual stones for the 12 primordial spirit. Obviously, the consumption of spiritual stones for the primordial spirits would increase with the increase of one's cultivation level. Before reaching Earth-penetrating 3rd level, Yi Fei needed to consume 120 million spirit stones every time he made a breakthrough. However, after reaching Earth-penetrating 4th level, the consumption had increased to a terrifying 200 million spirit stones. However, no matter how many spiritual stones I consume, I must break through when I need to. My sister is still waiting for me. Since I can't increase my cultivation level in a short period of time, I'll increase my martial force. Although he had no more spiritual stones on him, Yi Fei remembered that he still had a large number of saint bones that he had obtained from the Star Moon Holy Land. These could also increase his strength. Moreover, Yi Fei realized that although he was a person abandoned by the heavens and could not comprehend the force of heaven and earth, as long as he had enough saint bones, he could increase his martial force without limit. I wonder how much these 50 saint bones can increase my sword force to. Without hesitation, there was still 1 day left before the Lin family's birthday banquet. Since he could not continue to increase his cultivation level, Yi Fei could only do his utmost to increase his martial force. Only then would he be able to face the Lin family and have more strength to protect himself. Saint Bones, you must not disappoint me. Boom! Yi Fei took out the saint bones and began to frantically refine them. The force of heaven and earth that erupted from the 50 saint bones was terrifying. In the blink of an eye, a shocking sword intent had already appeared on Yi Fei's body. At the same time, his earth sword force was also increasing crazily. 30% sword force. 40% sword force, 50% sword force, 60% sword force, 70% sword force. When Yi Fei's sword force reached the 7th level, the 50 saint bones in Yi Fei's hand had all turned into dust and disappeared from Yi Fei's hand. What replaced it was an incomparably powerful sword force that was as heavy as a mountain, emerging from Yi Fei's body. 70% sword force. My sword force has actually reached the 7th level of the earth-penetrating realm. This is great. I'm even more confident about the Lin family's birthday banquet now. Yi Fei stopped cultivating and walked out of his room. Calculating the time, it was already the time he had agreed to attend the banquet with Jiang Qing. Looking at Xia Jun's room, it was still tightly shut. From time to time, there would be shocking spiritual energy fluctuations coming from inside. Yi Fei nodded and did not disturb Xia Jun's cultivation. He turned and walked out of the inn with large strides. As the number one family in the royal Wind City, the ancestor of the Lin family was also the second omnipotent Grand Sage in the royal Wind City. His birthday banquet naturally attracted the attention of countless people. When Yi Fei walked to the entrance of the Lin family, it was already crowded with people. Guests were everywhere to celebrate the Lin family's birthday banquet. The weakest of them was an earth-penetrating realm level 1 expert. In fact, Yi Fei could even sense the aura of many half-sages in the crowd. This made Yi Fei's heart sink. After all, knowing that the Lin family had an omnipotent Grand Sage, Yi Fei was already under a lot of pressure. Yet, there were so many half-sages here. Any one of them would be no match for Yi Fei. Looks like after entering the Lin family, I can't act rashly. Otherwise, not only will I not be able to save my sister, I might even be trapped inside and unable to escape. He had to think of a foolproof plan. Chapter 864. A Special Gift. Brother Yi, since you're here so early, you must be confident that you can win the heart of the Lin family's third daughter. Jiang Qing was still the same. When he saw that Yi Fei had advanced from Earth Profound Stage 3 to Earth Profound Stage 4 in just 3 days, he thought that Yi Fei was doing this for Lin Shui. That was because there were rumors in the royal Wind City that the Lin family was holding this birthday banquet with the intention of choosing one of the young prodigies to be Lin Shui's son-in-law. This immediately caused a commotion among the young prodigies in the royal Wind City. As the third daughter of the Lin family, Lin Shui was not only extraordinarily beautiful. More importantly, the Lin family had an omnipotent great sage. Whoever could marry Lin Shui would be like a carp leaping over the dragon gate, reaching the heavens in a single bound. Furthermore, it was rumored that Yi Fei was also here for Lin Shui. There were already many young prodigies around Jiang Qing who were looking at Yi Fei with hostility. My name is Jiang Fan. How should I address you? You're only at Earth Profound Stage 4 and you want to marry Lin Shui? Aren't you underestimating the young prodigies of the royal Wind City? The first person who wanted to make things difficult for Yi Fei was a handsome young man in green robes. When he spoke, he even released his cultivation base at the 6th level of the Earth Extermination Realm. Let me introduce myself. My name is Yu Rang. Nice to meet you, brother. Seeing that Jiang Fang had stepped forward, Yu Rang did not want to be outdone. He directly stretched out his hand, wanting to shake Yi Fei's hand. It was a friendly expression. However, when the surrounding young prodigies saw that Yu Rang was extending his hand to Yi Fei, they all laughed sinisterly. Everyone present knew that Yu Rang's nickname was the Star Shatter Hand. It meant that his strength was so great that he could shatter stars. Anyone who shook hands with Yu Rang would end up in a miserable state. Jiang Qing also did not expect that the young prodigies around him would start fighting among themselves before Lin Shui's selection of a husband. However, Jiang Qing did not stop them. Instead, he looked at Yi Fei with interest. Jiang Qing wanted to see how strong Yi Fei was through this action. Yi Fei had no intention of shaking hands with Yu Rang. He was also not here for the so-called third miss of the Lin family. After learning that young Master Xing Yu might be sending his younger sister to the Lin family, Yi Fei was filled with disgust for the Lin family. As soon as Jiang Qing nodded, Yi Fei turned around and walked to the side. He closed his eyes and cultivated, casually waiting for the Lin family's birthday banquet to begin. However, when he was outside, he didn't see young Master Xing Yu. This made Yi Fei feel a little strange. Could it be that young Master Xing Yu has already entered the Lin family? That's right, the Qin clan is a branch of the Lin clan. Young Master Xing Yu can naturally enter in advance, right? At the thought of this, Yi Fei was secretly worried. If young Master Xing Yu had already given his sister to the Lin family, it would undoubtedly be much more difficult for Yi Fei to save her. This kid surnamed Yi is very arrogant. If it weren't for giving face to Prince Jiang, I would definitely teach him a lesson. Yi Fei's display of weakness caused many young geniuses to feel disdain. Jiang Fan and Yu Rang also exchanged a smug look. Haha, he doesn't even dare to shake hands with me. It seems that this kid is just a good-for-nothing. Yu Rang said very proudly. He better not meet me in the arena. Otherwise, I will let him know that ignoring me is his biggest mistake. Jiang Fan's face was also filled with displeasure. Unlike other cultivators, the Jiang family was also very powerful in the Royal Wind City. Therefore, Jiang Fan had heard in advance that the Lin family's birthday banquet would be a martial arts competition with Lin Shui as the witness. As for the purpose of the martial arts competition, the Lin family did not reveal it. However, many young geniuses, including Jiang Fan, believed that the Lin family was choosing a husband for Lin Shui. Brother Yu, if we meet in the martial arts competition this time, you have to be merciful. Ha! Jiang Fan, you should be merciful over there. Ha ha ha! A group of young geniuses laughed and walked out of the Lin family's red door. In their eyes, Yi Fei was simply not a person. Even Jiang Cheng's reaction to Yi Fei was very strange. Did I see wrongly? Is this Yi Fei not a powerful cultivator? Is he just a person who is more interesting? Brother Yi, please. Jiang Cheng made an inviting gesture. Prince, please go first. Yi Fei humbly clasped his hands together. He was not like the others who could not wait to enter. Instead, he looked around casually. Finally, he saw a familiar figure in the crowd. She was being pulled into the Lin family's residence by a young man in a moon robe. Sister, that must be my sister. Although it was just a glimpse, Yi Fei trusted his intuition. However, he did not act rashly. There were experts from the Lin family everywhere, and there were also half-saints. No matter how confident Yi Fei was, there was no way he could save his sister from so many half-saints and heavenly Grandmaster Grand Sage. Yi Fei could only be patient for now. He quietly followed the crowd into the Lin family's residence. Soon, Yi Fei discovered another strange thing. Even the half-saints and the older generation experts who had come to attend the birthday disappeared after entering the Lin family's residence. They had obviously entered a small world. All the young geniuses, including Jiang Qing and Yi Fei, were led to a huge martial arts arena on the other side. Aren't we here to attend the birthday celebration? Why are we here? Yi Fei asked Jiang Qing, puzzled. Brother Yi, don't you know? The birthday celebration of the Lin family is divided into two parts. The older generation experts will attend the banquet in the small world of the Lin family, while the younger generation will come to the martial arts arena to compete. It is said that the winner this time may become Lin Shui's husband. Jiang Qing was puzzled. Yi Fei had obviously come for Lin Shui, so why didn't he know about this? Could it be that he had guessed wrongly? Was Yi Fei not here for Lin Shui? Was that why he ignored Jiang Fan and Yu Rang's provocation? But before Jiang Qing could ask, two people suddenly appeared on the martial arts arena. One of them was as beautiful as a fairy. There was no need to ask to know that this person was Lin Shui, the #1 beauty of the Royal Wind City. She was also the target of many young geniuses. Beside Lin Shui stood a handsome young man. When the two of them stood together, they looked like a golden couple. The appearance of the two attracted everyone's attention. It's actually Lin Ying. I didn't expect him to not go to the imperial capital. The Lin family's test this time can't be to defeat Lin Ying. If that's the case, we won't have a chance at all. That's right. In the Royal Wind City, Lin Ying is the strongest other than Jiang Qing. With their strength, they can break into the top 50 in the imperial capital. As if he had heard the discussions, Lin Ying looked at Jiang Qing provocatively. Jiang Qing, we haven't seen each other for 3 years. Why don't we exchange some pointers and see how much we have improved? Jiang Qing smiled faintly and said indifferently, there's no rush. This is their stage, not mine. After saying that, Jiang Qing retreated to the side. He had no intention of exchanging blows with Lin Ying. Lin Ying was unwilling to accept this, but Jiang Qing's status was extraordinary. He couldn't force Jiang Qing to exchange blows with him. Lin Ying could only announce, everyone, I won't say the purpose of the Lin family's martial arts competition this time. Whoever obtains first place will be able to propose a condition to my sister. You can start now. Lin Ying said and prepared to leave the stage. Just like Jiang Qing, Lin Ying had no interest in exchanging blows with him. Lin Ying also felt disdain for these so-called young geniuses. He wanted to leave the stage and let Lin Shui take charge. Chapter 865. Drawing his sword in anger, a special gift? Lin Ying looked at the girl that Qin Yang dragged out and frowned. Although he was surprised by Yi Shanshan's beauty, wouldn't it make him look like a lecher if Qin Yang gave him a beauty in public? Lin Ying was furious. Qin Yang, what do you mean by this? Lin Shui also scolded, shameless thing. My brother is engaged to the Li family of the imperial capital. Hurry up and drag this ugly girl out and beat her to death. Lin Shui was very angry. She was the only pearl here, but when Yi Shanshan appeared, she was like a bright moon. Even someone as unruly as Lin Shui felt ashamed of her inferiority. At this moment, she suddenly felt jealous of Yi Shanshan and wanted to kill her. Cousin, third miss, listen to me. She possesses the frost bloodline, and our star moon Holy Land is unable to protect her. That's why we want to send her to the Lin clan. Cousin, please protect her on our behalf. Qin Yang unhurriedly transmitted his voice. His words also gave Lin Ying and Lin Shui a fright. What? A special bloodline? This girl actually has a special bloodline? Lin Ying was overjoyed. If Yi Shanshan was only beautiful, Lin Ying wouldn't care too much. After all, a beautiful girl would age easily. However, Yi Shanshan actually had a special bloodline. The nature of the situation was different. As everyone knew, any martial artist with a special bloodline could easily reach the peak of martial arts. Most importantly, the descendants of a special bloodline had a 50% chance of being born with a special bloodline. Thinking of this, Lin Ying's breathing became rapid. She immediately made a decision. Ha, good. Qin Yang, you did very well. I am very satisfied with this special gift of yours. Tell me, what do you want as a reward? Lin Ying was very happy. Yi Shanshan's face was filled with despair. She wanted to die right now, but she had never cultivated and was controlled by Qin Yang. She didn't even have the ability to speak, let alone die. Shui Lin looked at Yi Shanshan with jealousy. Not only was this girl prettier than her, but she also had a special bloodline. She suddenly felt a strong resentment in her heart. Without waiting for Qin Yang to speak, he interrupted Lin Ying and said, Big brother, it's grandfather's birthday banquet now. It's also a good day for me to choose a husband. I can't see your filthy things. If there's anything, wait until I've chosen my husband. Shui Lin's words finally gathered everyone's attention back onto her. Many young talents once again cast their fiery gazes towards the arena beneath Shui Lin's feet. Fairy Lin, may I ask what it takes for us to become your husband? Jiang Fan and Yu Reng asked almost at the same time. The others also quietly pricked up their ears. Jiang Qing looked at Yi Shanshan in surprise, then took the initiative to walk to the side. He had no intention of participating in the upcoming battle. Obviously, Jiang Qing, who was the strongest here, was not interested in Shui Lin. This made even more young talents excited. If you want to be my husband, it's very simple. You have to be strong, stronger than anyone else. Now, you can fight to your heart's content in the arena. Whoever wins in the end will be the winner, and will be able to propose a condition to me. Shui Lin's face was still a little red when she said this. She didn't mention any conditions, but it was enough to make the young talent's imaginations run wild. As soon as she finished speaking, the young talents rushed towards the arena crazily. Get out of the way, Fairy Lin is mine. Get out of the way, only I can be Shui-er's husband. Go to hell, whoever dares to obstruct my marriage with Shui Lin, I'll take his life. One by one, the young talents rushed into the arena and immediately began a chaotic battle. Of course, there were also cautious people who didn't rush up immediately, but continued to wait for an opportunity. Yi Fei stood at the back of the crowd. His eyes didn't even look at the arena. He just stared at it. Qingyang had handed his sister to Lin Ying, and he immediately had an impulse to rush out and kill. However, he considered that Yi Shanshan wasn't a warrior. If he rushed up rashly, he might cause accidental injuries. Therefore, Yi Fei could only endure for the time being. It seems that if I want to rescue my sister, I have to think of a way to lure Qingyang, especially Lin Ying, away from her. Yi Fei thought to himself. At this time, Jiang Qing also noticed that something was wrong with Yi Fei. The warriors who followed him in, including the two experts, Jiang Fan and Yu Rang, had already rushed up, but Yi Fei was still standing in the same spot. Brother Yi, are you not here for Shui Lin? Jiang Qing asked curiously. No, I'm not here for her. I've been waiting for this lesson for 10 years. Yi Fei said faintly. His words confused Jiang Qing. Yi Fei didn't explain to Jiang Qing. He had already seen Lin Ying say something to Qingyang, and Qingyang, the young master of the Star Moon Empire, had already rushed into the arena excitedly. Yi Fei sneered. Lin Ying was still by his sister's side, so it wasn't the best time to rescue her. However, Yi Fei had already thought of a good way to force Lin Ying to leave his sister's side. Young master of the Star Moon Empire, you actually gave my sister to someone else as a gift. Very well, I'll use you as the first soul to die today. When he saw that the young master of the Star Moon Empire had also rushed into the arena, Yi Fei's eyes flashed with a murderous intent. Then, he strode into the arena. After a period of competition, those who were still on the arena were the true young experts of the Royal Wind City. There were a total of 40 to 50 of them, and they were all fighting against each other. When Qingyang entered the arena, he immediately attracted the attention of many experts. Not good, Qingyang is coming up. What a shameless person. He actually wants to send a beauty to make the Lin family look at him differently. He must have come for Fairy Lin Shui. How about we join forces to defeat him first and then decide the victor? A young expert suggested. Many people immediately agreed. A bunch of ignorant fools. Qingyang's face was filled with disdain. This was because Lin Ying had already promised him that she would accept the Qin clan as a branch of the Lin clan. The condition was that Qingyang had to show enough strength to defeat all the young geniuses. If Qingyang's performance was outstanding, it wouldn't be impossible to betroth Lin Shui to him. With such encouragement, Qingyang naturally gave it his all. Although he was only at the 6th level of the Earth Profound Realm, he already had a special body constitution. How could he put these ordinary young geniuses in his eyes? All of you scram. When Qingyang saw the group of young geniuses rushing towards him, a terrifying flame erupted from his body, transforming into a gigantic flaming saber that slashed out. Miserable screams rang out as the 10 young geniuses near Qingyang were all heavily injured and fell off the arena. The number of young geniuses on the arena instantly decreased by more than half. Jiang Fan and Yu Rang, who were about to make a move, jumped in shock. They understood that they weren't a match for Qingyang, but they were unwilling to be defeated by Qingyang just like that. Naturally, their gazes landed on Yi Fei, who had just stepped onto the arena. Haha, this coward actually has the guts to come up? Humph, since we can't defeat Qingyang, there's an 80% chance that we won't be able to marry Lin Shui. Let's teach this brat a lesson and vent our anger. Yu Rang and Jiang Fan exchanged glances. Suddenly, they attacked at the same time, rushing towards Yi Fei. Yi Fei's gaze turned cold. His target was Qin Yang, yet these two dared to interfere with his plan? Scram! Yi Fei shouted in a low voice. His fengshuous sword carried an invincible cold light as it suddenly slashed forward. Then, without looking back, he continued towards Qingyang. A strong killing intent instantly locked onto Qingyang. Qingyang, fight with me! What? Puff! Chapter 866. One-sided. The crowd was in an uproar. Jiang Fan and Yu Rang couldn't accept this fact. One of them was at the 5th level of the Earth Absolute Realm, while the other was at the 6th level of the Earth Absolute Realm. Even in the Royal Wind City, they could be considered experts. But in front of Yi Fei, they couldn't even withstand a single sword strike. Heavens, where did that person come from? He's only in the 4th stage, but he defeated Jiang Fan and Yu Rang in a single move. The other young cultivators were shocked. One had to know that in the Royal Wind City, Jiang Fan and Yu Rang were ranked in the top 5. Yet, they couldn't block a single sword strike from Yi Fei. Interesting. Sister, it seems like you've attracted an expert. Lin Ying also noticed Yi Fei's performance and couldn't help but mock Lin Shui. Lin Shui revealed a proud expression. Although she was surprised by Yi Fei's strength, she soon revealed a look of disdain. She coldly said, "He's indeed strong, but he's only on par with that Azure Sunday. In the imperial capital, the two of them are at most in the top 50. If my man wants to be, he must be number 1. Haha, you're ambitious. But in my Snow Wind Empire, other than Beilizhen, who dares to say they're number 1? Lin Ying laughed. Beilizhen? Lin Shui's eyes lit up, but they soon dimmed. Although she was the number 1 beauty in the Royal Wind City, it was still impossible for her to enter Beilizhen's eyes. It's that cheap girl beside me who might attract Beilizhen's attention. If it wasn't for her special bloodline that attracted Big Brother's attention, I would have strangled her with my own hands just because she looks like a vixen. Humph. Lin Shui glanced at Yi Shanshan with jealousy in her heart. However, she felt that Yi Shanshan's expression was a little strange. Of course, due to the frequent threats in the Star Moon Holy Ground, Yi Shanshan had learned how to conceal his emotions. However, when he saw Yi Fei calmly walking up the stage with his sword in hand, Yi Shanshan's heart was in turmoil. Similar. Too similar. Yi Shanshan was so excited that she almost screamed out loud when she saw that they were exactly the same. She was so familiar with them. Brother, he must be brother. I can't be wrong. Yi Shanshan screamed in his heart. In the arena, looking at Yi Fei walking towards him with a sword in hand, Green Sun, who had basically finished off all his opponents, suddenly felt a sense of familiarity. It was as if he had seen him somewhere before. However, after sensing Yi Fei's killing intent, the doubt in Qin Yang's heart immediately turned into anger. One should know that Lin Ying was now paying attention to him. His performance would directly determine the status of the Qin clan after they returned to the Lin clan. Of course, Qin Yang did not dare to be careless. You dare to show killing intent towards me? Do you know who I am? Do you know the consequence of provoking me? Qin Yang coldly waited for Yi Fei to come closer. I don't need to know who you are. I've never been interested in knowing too much about the dead. Yi Fei raised his wind blood sword and slashed at Qin Yang without saying anything else. Qin Yang was instantly enraged. To think that someone in the Lin clan would dare to provoke him like this. This was an absolute humiliation. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. A savage look flashed across Qin Yang's face as he subconsciously glanced in Lin Ying's direction. Lin Ying's expression was somewhat cold as she gave Qin Yang an imperceptible nod. In the end, the Lin clan had not truly held this competition to choose a husband for Lin Shui. Rather, they wanted to use Lin Shui's allure to understand the strength of the youths in Royal Wind City. If some talented youths obstructed the Lin clan's exploration of the martial emperor's secret dimension, the Lin clan would not mind killing them beforehand. Haha, it seems that Lin Ying has decided to let me kill him. Wonderful. No one has ever managed to survive after offending me. Die. Star Moon 10 slashes. With Lin Ying's affirmation, Qingyang no longer held back. He immediately erupted with the strongest power of his special constitution. He slashed out with his saber, creating a rain of fire that shattered the sword light and furiously smashed toward Yi Fei. Young Master Qingyang, kill him! Kill this country bumpkin! Jiang Fan and Yu Chang felt extremely humiliated at being defeated by Yi Fei. They naturally wanted Qingyang to tear Yi Fei to shreds. Brother Yi is still too impulsive. Qingyang has a high-class special constitution. In Royal Wind City, besides Lin Ying and I, he is the strongest. Brother Yi might not have. Jiang Cheng was completely speechless. Lin Ying and Lin Shui were also stunned. Amidst Qingyang's terrifying rain of fire, a golden figure wielding a sword walked forward like a war demon. How is this possible? Jiang Fan and Yu Chang's eyes widened. They could not believe that Yi Fei, who had not even dared to say a word in the face of their provocation, was actually so terrifyingly strong? No, this is impossible. You actually used your physical strength to block my Star Moon 10 slashes. Most importantly, Yi Fei's cultivation was only at earth-penetrating stage 4, 2 whole stages lower than Qingyang's. Qingyang could not accept this fact. He also couldn't tolerate the fact that a nameless nobody was more talented than him. Die. You forced me to do this. Today, I will definitely kill you and let Third Miss know that I, Qingyang, am the only one worthy of her man. Star Moon Storm. Suddenly, a moon and stars appeared in the sky. Very quickly, these stars and moons turned into terrifying saber rays that slashed towards Yi Fei like a hurricane. Saber rays filled the air, and the terrifying light of the moon and stars filled the air. The entire stage, including the sky and earth, ceased to exist. Everything was swallowed up by the boundless moon and stars. Ha ha ha, did you see that? This is the strongest attack of my Star Moon holy ground. Even if I am facing an earth-penetrating stage 10 slash, I am not fearless. Who dares to fight me? Who can fight me? Qingyang's performance caused even Lin Shui's gaze to fall on him. This made Qingyang feel even more proud. He thought that Lin Shui was admiring him. Although losing Yi Shanshan is something to be happy about, as long as I marry Lin Shui, I, Qingyang, will still be able to soar into the sky and become an expert. Qingyang was so engrossed in his thoughts that he didn't notice a purple-gold figure slowly walking out of the shattered arena. What bullshit strongest attack! It seems that your Star Moon holy ground has nothing worth paying attention to other than stealing chickens and dogs. Yi Fei walked out of the flames. The purple-gold Tai Chi also blossomed with dazzling light. No, this is impossible. Not only did you block my strongest attack, but you are also unharmed. Qingyang couldn't believe his eyes. His special physique increased his attack power. Although Qingyang was only at earth-penetrating stage 6 slash, he could unleash the strength of an earth-penetrating stage 7 slash. Even so, he couldn't harm a single hair on Yi Fei's head. What is going on? Qingyang wasn't the only one shocked. Jiang Fan and Yu Rang also widened their eyes. Sigh, I misjudged. Brother Ye's strength might not be inferior to mine. However, is he really here for Lin Shui? Jiang Qing had a feeling that Yi Fei was here for a fight. He wasn't here to compete, but to kill. Qingyang, I'll block your attack. You should also block my sword. Heaven, earth, man, 3 swords as one. Yi Fei didn't give Qingyang any time to react. He instantly became one with his sword. A terrifying heavenly sword suddenly appeared in the sky. It tore through the sky and shattered everything. The sword light was too terrifying. The Earth Sword's 70% sword force was like a divine mountain. It swept across the sky and slashed down. Invincible defense, 70% sword force. This is definitely not an attack that an ordinary genius can achieve. Even I can't do this. Jiangqing stood up in shock. A special genius, our royal wind city, actually has a special genius that is comparable to a special bloodline. Who is he? Not good, he's really going to kill Qingyang. Lin Ying also rushed towards the stage. Ah, you're actually a special genius. What enmity do you have with me? Why do you want to kill me like this? Qingyang roared in fear. He couldn't resist at all. In particular, Yi Fei had even reached the realm of combining the three swords of heaven, earth, and man into one. Chapter 867. Who dares to bully my little sister? Why would I want to kill you? Yi Fei looked at Qin Yang's unrepentant expression, and anger rose in his heart. He looked at Qin Yang and didn't say anything. Boom! The resplendent sword light caused the world to lose its color. But just as Yi Fei's sword light was about to land, a figure appeared in front of Qin Yang. Lin Ying, are you trying to stop me? Yi Fei's cold voice came from the huge sword. Humph, you dare to kill someone in front of me in the Lin family. You really don't put the Lin family in your eyes. Lin Ying's body released a stream of colorful light. What he cared about wasn't Qin Yang's death, but the face of the Lin clan. He was also surprised by the Yi Shanshan that Qin Yang had given him. Hence, he decided to save Qin Yang. Qin Yang, stand behind me. Let's see if he dares to kill you in front of me. Lin Ying said arrogantly. He was the most outstanding genius of the Lin clan, and this place was the Lin clan. He didn't put Yi Fei in his eyes. As soon as Yi Fei's sword light landed, the aura of the earth-penetrating 7th level appeared on Lin Ying's body. This was the real earth-penetrating 7th level, which meant that Lin Ying also possessed 70% of the martial force. Force of the Berserk Blade / Suddenly, Lin Ying transformed into a heavenly blade and slashed towards Yi Fei. The huge sword and the heavy blade collided in the air. In order to suppress Yi Fei, Lin Ying used his full strength. Back off! The heavenly blade exploded, releasing a bright light that caused ripples to appear in the air. Sword of heaven, sword of earth, sword of man. Yi Fei's huge sword light suddenly separated into 3 terrifying sword lights. One slashed towards Lin Ying, one sealed the entire space, and the last one mercilessly slashed towards Qin Yang. That seems to be the heaven, earth, and man sword of the Heavenly Tao Sword Codex. Could it be that Brother Yi is actually from the Heavenly Tao Sacred Academy? Jiangqing was the first to see through Yi Fei's sword light. Heavenly Tao Sacred Academy? My brother joined the Sacred Academy of the Central Continent? No wonder he's so strong. I knew that Big Brother would definitely rise. He's not trash. He'll always be the hero in my heart. Big Brother, you can do it! Yi Shanshan was extremely excited. Although she was being controlled and unable to speak, her heart was filled with boundless pride. Finally, the strong brother in her heart had returned. Her 10 years of praying to the gods to protect Yi Fei had not been in vain. I didn't expect him to be so strong. Not only did he scare off Qingyang, he can even fight evenly with my elder brother. Humph, if he is from the Heavenly Tao Sacred Academy and can withstand my elder brother's attacks without being defeated, then I, Lin Shui, will give him a chance to pursue me. Shui Lin was extremely proud as she looked at the sky. She was very confident in her beauty. She was also looking forward to Yi Fei's performance. Boom, boom, boom. In the sky, saber light and sword light constantly clashed. Lin Ying was truly powerful. She was at the 7th level of the Earth Extermination Realm, a peak expert of the Northern Wind Royal City. Even Yi Fei felt that it would be troublesome to deal with her. However, He had to kill this Qingyang no matter what. He had to defeat this Lin Ying no matter what. Because only by defeating these two people would he be able to smoothly escape with his younger sister. When he thought of this, Yi Fei no longer hesitated. He decided to take a risk. Lin Ying, don't think that I won't be able to kill him just because you are protecting him. I, Yi Fei, will never fail to kill the people I want to kill. Take this attack of mine, Emperor Realm Empty Fist. Boom! The heavens and earth collapse. The sun and moon lost their light. In the sky, only Yi Fei's terrifying fist light could be seen. It was like a golden sun rising slowly, attracting the attention of everyone. When Qingyang heard Yi Fei's name, he came to a complete realization. Shock and astonishment flashed across his face. Yi Fei, he is Yi Fei. So he is. Shut up and go to hell. When Yi Fei saw that Qingyang had already guessed his identity, he immediately waved his fist. The sky was suddenly filled with a desolate and ancient aura. It wasn't the force of the heavens and earth, but it was even more mysterious. With Yi Fei's Earth Extermination Level 4 cultivation base, the Emperor Realm Empty Fist finally unleashed its mysterious power that could kill a great emperor. 2 golden fist shadows fell to the ground like meteors, causing countless cracks to appear on the Lin family's land. Impudent! You have only learned a little of the Heaven Path Sword Codex. How dare you cause trouble in the Lin residence? Go to hell. Heavenly Sword Art. Slay gods and demons. Lin Ying didn't expect Yi Fei to really kill Qingyang in front of him. He was instantly enraged. He exploded with all his strength and released a mountain-like sword light that mercilessly slashed at Yi Fei. Lin Ying was fully confident that Yi Fei would retreat this time. After all, if Yi Fei ignored his sword light and continued to attack Qingyang, Yi Fei would also be killed by his sword light. Your sword technique is not bad. Unfortunately, you have underestimated me if you think you can stop me with this. Die. Yi Fei didn't retreat. Instead, he ignored the terrifying sword light and continued to advance. 2 golden meteors instantly smashed into Qingyang's body. Qingyang immediately screamed in horror. This is impossible. How can it be you? You are just a piece of trash. You are just a piece of trash. Bam! Qingyang couldn't finish his sentence, as the 2 golden fists had completely pulverized his body. Die! Lin Ying roared furiously in the sky. Just as Yi Fei had killed Qingyang, the terrifying sword light released by Lin Ying had already slashed at Yi Fei's body. Lin Ying was confident that an ordinary Earth Extermination Level 8 Almighty would be instantly killed by his sword light. However, Lin Ying's eyes widened in disbelief very quickly. Jiang Qing and Lin Shui also opened their mouths in disbelief. Jiang Fan, Yu Rang, and the others had strange expressions on their faces. As Lin Ying's saber light descended, the strange purple-gold sphere suddenly appeared on Yi Fei's body once again. It instantly pushed Lin Ying's saber light aside. Whoosh! With the help of the sword light and the power of the purple-gold Tai Chi, Yi Fei rushed from the shattered arena to the high platform where Yi Shanshan and Lin Shui were standing. Looking into Yi Fei's eyes, Shui Lin suddenly felt her heart beating very fast, and a blush appeared on her face. However, Yi Fei's gaze only lingered on Lin Shui for a second. The next moment, his gaze was fixed on Yi Shanshan, who was in tears. Shanshan! Yi Fei realized that his voice was very dry and even trembling slightly. Brother! However, Yi Shanshan's surprised cry told Yi Fei that this was not an illusion. He had really found his sister. Yi Shanshan was standing right in front of him. With Qingyang's death, the chill in Yi Shanshan's body had broken through the seal on her body. Tears streamed down her face as she suddenly jumped up and threw herself into Yi Fei's arms. She cried and laughed as she shouted, "Brother, why did you come to save me? You know how dangerous this is." "Why? Because you are my sister. No matter how dangerous the situation is, I will take it. As long as I don't die, I want to see who dares to bully my sister." As Yi Fei finished speaking, a shocking killing intent suddenly appeared on his body. He was like a raging dragon that had been awakened from a deep slumber. He stared at Jiang Fan and Yu Rang. The two of them lowered their heads in fear. He stared at the other young warriors. These people looked at Qingyang's body on the ground and felt Yi Fei's mountain-like sword aura. The crowd fell silent for a while and retreated. No one dared to resist Yi Fei's sword light. At this moment, in everyone's eyes, Yi Fei was more dazzling and eye-catching than the dead Qingyang and Lin Shui on the high platform. Chapter 868. Wishful thinking. Yi Fei, I can't believe that you didn't come for Shuelin, but to save your sister. I can't believe that I, Jiang Qing, would make a mistake. Jiang Qing sighed. But then, his body emitted a strong fighting spirit. I thought that I wouldn't be able to find a worthy opponent in the Royal Wind City. Brother Yi, your appearance has given me a pleasant surprise. If there's a chance, let's spar. At the moment, Jiang Qing was no longer as modest as before. His eyes were burning with a strong desire to fight. Jiang Qing was indeed a prince, but he was also a martialist. What could excite a cultivator more than meeting a worthy opponent? Jiang Qing's words shocked all the young men present. Did we hear wrongly? Prince Jiang is actually treating this person as an equal opponent. No one would have thought that Jiang Qing, who was ranked first in the royal city, would give Yi Fei such a high evaluation. One had to know that Jiang Qing had never even given Lin Ying, who was ranked second, such a high evaluation. Jiang Fan and Yu Lin's faces turned red when they heard this. They had mocked Yi Fei before, but now they realized that they were the ones who should be mocked the most. Lin Ying's face turned red when she heard Jiang Qing's evaluation of Yi Fei. In the Royal Wind City, Lin Ying had always treated Jiang Qing as her greatest competitor. However, not only had this competitor not taken her seriously, he had actually treated Yi Fei as his opponent. Intolerable. Yi Fei, I see. You came to save your sister, but you shouldn't have killed Qingyang. You should know that I have already allowed Qingyang to return to the Lin family. He is now a member of the Lin family. Lin Ying said coldly. Step by step, he descended from the sky. With every step he took, the blade light on his body grew stronger. When he landed on the ground, his entire body was like a gigantic blade. The pressure he exuded was so great that many people stopped breathing. Many people finally understood why Lin Ying had protected Qingyang with all her might. So Qingyang has already returned to the Lin family. Killing a member of the Lin clan in the Lin clan, this brat sure has guts. Although Yi Fei was trying to save his younger sister, this was the Lin clan, the strongest clan in the Royal Wind City. Yi Fei's actions were akin to slapping the Lin clan's face. How could the Lin clan tolerate this? Brother? Yi Shanshan tugged at Yi Fei's sleeve nervously. Although she did not cultivate, she knew how powerful the Lin family was. At the very least, they were 100 times stronger than the Star Moon Holy Land and the Lin family. Shanshan, don't worry. With me here, even if the sky falls, I'll be your quilt. Yi Fei's face was full of confidence. The current him was no longer the weak youth from back then. The current him had enough confidence and strength to protect his sister from any harm. Sister, let's go. Yes, brother, I'll go with you. Yi Shanshan wiped away her tears. Her smile was very sweet, and it caused many young men to be dazed. That smile was so pure, yet so heartbreaking. Many young men unconsciously shifted their gazes from Lin Shui to Yi Shanshan. This caused Lin Shui to be extremely angry. Lin Ying's face was also filled with rage. Following which, his entire body was like a heavenly blade, blocking Yi Fei's path. Stop right there. You killed a member of my family, Yi. Could it be that you want to leave without giving me an explanation? What explanation do you want? Yi Fei stopped in his tracks and frowned as he looked at Lin Ying. I can forget about the matter of you killing Qingyang. However, you can't take your younger sister away. Because I've already decided to take her as my wife. Lin Ying did not hide his desire to possess Yi Shanshan. One had to know that Yi Shanshan had a special bloodline. If he could control Yi Shanshan, it would mean that the Lin clan would also have a special bloodline in the future. How could Lin Ying be willing to let Yi Shanshan leave just like that? Brother! Yi Shanshan heard this and grabbed Yi Fei's arm tightly, afraid that Yi Fei would leave her behind. Shanshan, don't worry. As long as you don't want to do something, no one can force you to do it. Lin Ying, if I remember correctly, you seem to have an engagement. You still want to marry my sister? Sunluo Temple had thoroughly investigated the Lin clan. Lin Ying's expression changed. He didn't expect Yi Fei to know about this. However, he quickly adjusted and shook his head with a smile. It's only an engagement, not a real marriage. As long as you marry your sister to me, I can break off the engagement right now. I can also swear that I will only love your sister for the rest of my life. I can even marry my sister to you. Boom. Lin Ying's words were no doubt a bolt of lightning that shocked everyone present. Even Jiang Qing was very surprised. Lin Ying was willing to pay such a price for a woman. First, he broke off the engagement, and now he was willing to sacrifice Lin Shui? Of course, if Jiang Qing knew that Yi Shanshan had a special bloodline, then it wouldn't be hard to understand. Brother, what are you talking about? Who wants to marry him? Lin Shui stomped her feet with an angry expression. A trace of shyness also appeared on her face. Since Yi Shanshan had a special bloodline, then as her brother, Yi Fei must also have a special bloodline. Lin Shui didn't care about ordinary geniuses, but if Yi Fei was a special genius with a special bloodline, Lin Shui subconsciously glanced at Yi Fei, and then lowered her head shyly. Seeing Lin Shui's expression, Lin Ying knew that Lin Shui was most likely willing. He immediately smiled at Yi Fei. How about it, Yi Fei? My conditions aren't bad, right? Let's marry each other's sister. This is a win-win situation for both of us. A win-win situation. Why do I feel that the Lin family is only interested in my sister's special bloodline? Also, my sister is the most precious pearl in the world. Even if a god were to propose marriage, I would still think that his level is too low. Who do you think you are? You're just a dog who forgets justice for profit. How dare you have designs on my sister? You're all delusional. Yi Fei's voice was like thunder. He suddenly turned his head and said gently to Yi Shanshan, Sister, hold on to my arm. Brother will take you away from here. Hearing Yi Fei's protection and love for her, Yi Shanshan's eyes lit up. Suddenly, a strong sense of happiness and pride welled up in her heart. This was her brother. Even after 10 years, she could still feel Yi Fei's love for her. Brother! Yi Shanshan's tears suddenly fell like rain, but her face was filled with happiness and joy. She had been waiting for this moment. Even if she were to die here in the next moment, she would be satisfied. If you can't stop them, don't worry about me. Run away quickly. Yi Shanshan whispered to Yi Fei. Stop right there. Bastard. Yi Fei's words finally enraged Lin Ying and Lin Shui. Lin Ying's entire body was covered in sword light. Clearly, he was extremely angry. Lin Shui was angry and angry. She mercilessly retorted. Who do you think you are? How could I, Lin Shui, be interested in a piece of trash like you? Brother, kill him for me. Rumble. Chapter 869. A half-saint makes a move at the same time. A terrifying force of heaven and earth came crashing down. Not only were the young martial artists unable to move, but even Yi Fei's body became sluggish under the pressure of the giant hand. Half-saint. Yi Fei's face darkened. He knew that entering the Lin family was like entering a tiger's den. However, he did not expect the half-saint of the Lin family to intervene in the personal feud between the younger generation. Father! Father, you came at the right time. This Yi Fei killed Qingyang and wants to take my wife away. Father, please help me. Lin Ying looked at the giant hand in the sky and was overjoyed. He really liked Yi Shanshan. Whether it was Yi Shanshan's goddess-like appearance or her special body constitution, Lin Ying was determined to win her over. Ha ha ha, Lin Ying, is this the lover you chose? Not bad, not bad. She has a cold temperament and an ice bloodline. She is indeed qualified to be my daughter-in-law. Rumble. The giant hand suddenly disappeared. Lin Feiying was like a tall mountain. No one knew how he appeared in the martial arts practice field. However, everyone could feel the terrifying force of heaven and earth that Lin Feiying emitted. That's right. The person who came was the head of the Lin family and a half-saint. It turned out that when Yi Fei was fighting with Qingyang, the Lin family elder, who was secretly observing the strength of the young martial artists, secretly reported the matter of Yi Fei and Yi Shanshan's special bloodline to the Lin family elder. When Lin Feiying heard about it, he immediately abandoned his social activities and rushed over as fast as he could. However, when he saw Yi Shanshan, Lin Feiying was overjoyed. With his strength as a half-saint, he could naturally tell that Yi Shanshan not only had a special bloodline, but also a high-level ice bloodline. However, when he looked at Yi Fei, Lin Feiying frowned. This is strange. Your sister has a special bloodline. Why don't you have one? Father, what did you say? He doesn't have a special bloodline? I don't want to marry a piece of trash. Lin Shui was shocked and angry. To think that she had just admired Yi Fei. Who would have thought that Yi Fei wasn't a special genius, but a mediocre one? Suddenly, Lin Shui's gaze towards Yi Fei changed from admiration to disdain and disgust. Nonsense. You can't go against your father and brother's orders. Feiying Lin interrupted Shui Lin's words coldly. He had always doted on his daughter. But after discovering that Yi Shanshan had a special high-level bloodline, Feiying Lin decided that even if he had to sacrifice Shui Lin's happiness, he would make Yi Shanshan and Yi Fei a part of the family Yi. Shui Lin's face was filled with despair. At this moment, when she looked at Yi Fei, there was no longer any blush on her face. There was only disdain and anger. She suddenly pulled out a knife and placed it on her neck. She screamed loudly, "No, I, Lin Shui, should live a glorious life. I don't want to spend my life with a piece of trash. I'd rather die." If you want to die, then go ahead and die. Why did you have to scold my brother? Even if a sister-in-law like you knelt down and begged my brother, he wouldn't want you. Do you think you're beautiful? You're just an ugly monster, a little witch. Hearing Shui Lin repeatedly calling Yi Fei a piece of trash, Yi Shanshan was finally enraged. She stood out bravely and scolded Shui Lin back. Shui Lin was so angry that her face turned red and she almost vomited blood. To a beautiful woman, the cruelest thing was for an even more beautiful woman to call her an ugly monster to her face. Yi Fei was also stunned. Was this really his little sister? When did his timid little sister become so valiant? What did you say? How dare you call me ugly? I'm going to destroy your face. Then we'll see who's the ugliest. Shui Lin exploded after her anger and humiliation. She no longer placed the knife on her neck. Instead, she picked it up and angrily rushed towards Yi Shanshan. Not good. Come back quickly. Lin Feiying and Lin Ying's expressions changed at the same time. After Yi Fei recovered from his shock, his eyes suddenly lit up. Finally, he found a good opportunity to escape from the Lin family. Boom! The 12 primordial spirits in Yi Fei's body exploded at the same time. In an instant, he broke free from Lin Feiying's aura. He rushed towards Shui Lin fiercely. How dare you? You're courting death. Lin Ying and Lin Feiying were enraged at the same time. No one expected that Yi Fei would dare to resist in front of a half-step sage. He was simply courting death. Jiang Cheng's expression changed instantly. In front of a half-step sage, even he didn't dare to act rashly. Could it be that Yi Fei didn't want to live anymore? How dare he block a half-step sage and capture Schwellin? Damn it, since you don't know how to appreciate kindness, then go to hell. Boom. The anger of a half-step sage was terrifying. Lin Feiying used his palm as a knife and waved it forcefully. The terrifying power of heaven and earth forced all the powerhouses to kneel on the ground except for Jiang Qing and Lin Ying. The power of heaven was like a prison, pressing down mercilessly. However, under the pressure of heaven, Yi Fei suddenly roared angrily. His entire body glowed like a blazing purple-gold sun, dazzling and shining in all directions. However, the saber radiance of a half-step sage was too terrifying. Under this saber radiance, Yi Fei's purple-gold radiance only bloomed for 3 breaths. The saber radiance had mercilessly torn apart Yi Fei's purple-gold Tai Chi and left a huge wound on Yi Fei's back. Blood spurted out like a fountain, splattering all over the ground. Brother! At this moment Yi Shanshan's voice was so heart-wrenching. She was really afraid that Yi Fei would abandon her and leave again. If that happened, she wouldn't be able to live alone. Ha ha ha, Shanshan, I'm fine. Patriarch Lin, I have to thank you for helping me imprison your daughter. Under the terrifying saber radiance, Yi Fei's body was stained with blood, but he still stood tall and sturdy. He was as still as a mountain. He had used the purple-gold Tai Chi to withstand the blow of a half-step sage. At the same time, the aura of a half-step sage suppressed Yi Fei and Lin Shui, making her unable to move. This also gave Yi Fei the best opportunity to strike. Yi Fei didn't care about the wound on his back. He coughed up blood and staggered. Only his hands were as strong as iron pliers, clamping down on Lin Shui's fair neck. All of you stop. I'll kill anyone who dares to take a step forward. Yi Fei's imposing voice resounded throughout the martial arts practice field. It didn't sound like he had withstood a half-step sage's attack. Lin Shui couldn't help but widen her eyes. Jiang Qing was so excited that his body was trembling. All the martial artists present, including Lin Ying and Lin Feiying, couldn't believe that this was real. How is this possible? He's only at the 4th grade of the earth-penetrating realm. How can he withstand the attack of a half-step sage? Lin Feiying couldn't believe it. Although it was just a casual attack, even a 10th-grade cultivator would have been killed instantly. And Yi Fei had relied on that strange purple-gold sphere to successfully withstand his attack. He had even held Lin Shui hostage. I didn't expect Yi Fei to be so strong. I thought he was my match, but now it seems that he has surpassed me. Jiang Qing smiled bitterly. Yi Fei's performance had overturned his evaluation time and time again. As for Jiang Fan and the other ordinary young talents, they were so frightened that they couldn't speak. This scene was too terrifying. An earth grade of the earth-penetrating realm had actually withstood the attack of a half-step sage. Even those geniuses with special bloodlines might not be able to do so. However, Yi Fei had done it. Chapter 870. Battle Marshal Saint's Palm. No, this can't be true. You don't have a special bloodline. How can you be so strong? It shouldn't be like this, it shouldn't be like this. Lin Shui's expression became complicated when Yi Fei grabbed her by the neck. It was a mixture of shock, anger, and shame. Who said that the strong must have a special bloodline? Hard work makes you a genius. Faith makes you a genius. As long as you have the heart of a strong person, even a mortal can transform into a true dragon. A mortal body can also give birth to a tyrant body. Yi Fei carried Lin Shui. He didn't give her any special treatment just because she was a beauty. He dragged Lin Shui back to Yi Shanshan's side. No one dared to stop him. Even though Yi Fei was heavily injured, he still held Lin Shui's life in his hands. Let go of my sister and my Lin clan will consider keeping your corpse. Lin Ying's eyes were filled with rage and brutality. In the Royal Wind City, there was only one person who was the most dazzling, and that was Lin Ying. He wouldn't even care about Jiang Qing if he wasn't a prince. But now, there was someone who was even more dazzling than him. He even killed a member of the Lin clan in front of him, slapping the Lin clan in the face. Now, he had even taken his sister hostage. Lin Ying couldn't tolerate this. If it wasn't for the fact that there were outsiders around, he would have killed Yi Fei without caring about Lin Xue's life. Even Lin Ying didn't know that he was filled with jealousy and killing intent towards Yi Fei. Let go of my daughter. Junior, on account of your sister's bloodline, I can forgive you one more time. At the same time, I will marry Lin Xue to you. Lin Feiying said coldly. Seeing that Yi Fei was able to block the attack of a half-step sage despite being only at the 4th level of the Earth Enlightenment realm, he felt that Yi Fei had great potential. This time, after hearing Lin Feiying's promise, Lin Xue didn't mess around. Instead, she sized up Yi Fei seriously. She wanted to take a good look at him. I'm sorry, but I never thought of marrying your daughter. Besides, she's not worthy. Yi Fei's voice was equally cold. When Lin Xue tried to threaten Yi Shanshan with a knife, Yi Fei didn't have a good impression of Lin Xue anymore. Hearing this, Lin Xue's eyes widened again. There was a hint of hatred in her eyes. She opened her mouth and wanted to say something. Yi Fei grabbed her neck tightly. He turned to Yi Shanshan and said gently, Shanshan, are you scared? Like ice melting, Yi Shanshan grabbed Yi Fei's arm tightly and said with a smile, as long as brother is here, I won't be scared. Brother, I want to go home. I miss Uncle Jian. Alright, brother will take you home. Yi Fei grabbed Yi Shanshan's hand. The two of them held each other's hands tightly, just like when they were young. 10 years of separation didn't make them estranged. They were still so familiar with each other and had such tacit understanding. Let's go. On one hand, he grabbed Lin Xue's neck fiercely. On the other hand, he pulled his sister gently. The two extreme emotions on Yi Fei's body actually emitted a strange glow. Many of the young geniuses in the Royal Wind City paled in comparison. Even Lin Ying's face was gloomy. Lin Feiying's face was filled with rage. What an impudent junior! You infiltrated my family, Yi, killed my people, and kidnapped my daughter. Where do you think you're going? Take him down and kill him. After all, a special bloodline wasn't ordinary. Once the news spread, the Holy Court would send people to fight for it. As the head of the Lin family, how could Lin Feiying allow Yi Fei to leave just like that? Not to mention, Yi Fei had kidnapped Lin Xue. If this news spread, the Lin family would undoubtedly become the laughingstock of the entire Royal Wind City. Kill. After receiving Lin Feiying's order, a large group of Lin family elders silently rushed into the arena. They had been waiting for a long time. Now that they suddenly made their move, they wanted to take Yi Fei's life. Father! The hatred in Lin Xue's eyes turned into fear. She couldn't believe that her life was still in Yi Fei's hands. Her father didn't care about her safety and wanted to kill Yi Fei. It seems like you have a ruthless father. Your father and brother don't love you at all. Yi Fei sighed. He knew that it was useless to capture Lin Xue. He suddenly threw Lin Xue out like a cannonball. At the same time, a terrifying sword light erupted from Lin Xue's body. The Heavenly Path Sword Codex uses the heavens as a sword, the earth as a sword, and even the human as a sword. Have a good taste of my sword. Boom. Lin Xue's body was covered in sword light. Her face was filled with shame and anger. That despicable Yi Fei. Not only did he ignore her beauty, he even used her as a sword to attack the elders of the Lin family. Third miss. After all, Lin Xue was extremely favored in the Lin family. When they saw that Yi Fei was throwing Lin Xue at them, the elders who were rushing over all stopped and dodged the sword light. Now's the time. Shanshan, hold on tight to me. Don't let go. Yi Fei shouted. Lin Shanshan didn't say anything. She only held on tightly to Yi Fei's arm. Her entire body leaned into Yi Fei's embrace. Where do you think you're going? Another furious voice came from the sky. This time, it wasn't Lin Fei's voice. Instead, it was the voice of an old man. When the large hand reached out, the entire sky was enveloped by it. It's the ancestor of the Lin family. A true martial saint has made his move. As expected of a special bloodline, even a martial saint who has been in seclusion all year round has made his move. This pair of brother and sister are doomed. With a martial saint making his move, no matter how strong Yi Fei is, he's going to die. The surrounding cultivators discussed fervently. The appearance of a martial saint had caused a huge commotion in the Royal Wind City. Martial saint, it's actually a martial saint. Very good. If I, Yi Fei, don't die today, I'll definitely come to the Lin family to learn from you. Yi Fei was incomparably furious. His eyes emitted a terrifying sword light that pierced through the void. He looked towards the depths of the void and saw an old man. Your sword Dao is not bad. However, it's a pity that you're not a martial saint. You're all ants. The ancestor of the Lin family laughed disdainfully. His large hand descended and mercilessly crushed Yi Fei. At this moment, Yi Fei let out a thunderous roar. 100. Instant. Boom. The ground trembled. Yi Fei brought Yi Shanshan with him and rushed out of the palm like a flash of light. The ancestor of the Lin family exclaimed, "The dragon turtle's 100ly instant? Interesting. A mortal can actually learn the secret technique of the vicious beast. Unfortunately, you're facing a martial saint like me. Overturning the heavens. Brother Yi, you should surrender. The attack of a martial saint has a range of at least 500 li. You won't be able to escape." Jiang Cheng's voice suddenly sounded in Yi Fei's ears. Yi Fei's heart was filled with despair. Suddenly, he saw a ray of hope. I see. Jiang Cheng wanted to persuade me, but he saved me instead. Brother Jiang, as long as I'm alive, I'll definitely be your friend. So what if you're a martial saint? 12 primordial spirits erupt. Boom, 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 boom. Just as he moved 100 li away, Yi Fei immediately summoned the remaining 10 primordial spirits. His entire body was like a shining meteor. His terrifying speed even caused layers of cracks to appear in the void. Chapter 870. The Wrath of the Martial Sage Boom. The giant hand finally landed on Yi Fei about 550 miles away. This was the maximum range of the Lin family patriarch's attack. When the giant hand landed, Yi Fei saw with his own eyes a 100-meter-tall mountain crumble into a ravine. Countless vicious beasts and wild beasts living in the mountains lost their lives just like that. This was the attack of the heavenly Grandmaster Grand Sage. Yi Fei's eyes narrowed as he thought to himself that he was lucky. If he didn't have the secret escape technique, 100 miles in an instant, and if he didn't have the 12 dantians in his body that allowed him to teleport 600 miles away with Yi Shanshan, he would have died. This time, he would have died without a doubt. Lin family, just you wait. I won't let you off so easily today. Yi Fei's face was filled with anger. He wouldn't blame the Lin family for killing him. However, the Lin family patriarch's attack clearly wanted to kill him and Yi Shanshan together. Yi Fei couldn't help but be angry. You can bully me, but you can't bully my sister. What? After his anger, Yi Fei felt extremely weak. After all, he had been hit by Lin Feiying's blade. Now that he had unleashed his 12 primordial spirits, the vital energy in his body was depleted. After dodging the martial sage's fatal attack, Yi Fei barely managed to land on the ground with Yi Shanshan. He collapsed weakly on the ground and didn't even have the strength to move his fingers. Yi Shanshan was shocked. "Brother, what happened to you? Don't scare me." She was really frightened. It wasn't easy for her to see Yi Fei again. She didn't want anything to happen to Yi Fei. "Don't worry, Shanshan. I'm fine. It's just that my vital energy is depleted. Hurry up and take me away. I'm afraid the Lin family will catch up with us soon." Yi Fei opened his spatial belt and casually grabbed a handful of pills and swallowed them. Only then did he feel his surging blood and qi calm down a little. But at the same time, he also sensed a powerful aura rapidly approaching. Yi Shanshan's expression changed. Brother, could it be that the Lin family has caught up? It can't be the Lin family. Even the heavenly Grandmaster Grand Sage can't react so quickly. At this aura. Xia Jun, why are you here? When Yi Fei saw the figure rushing over from afar, he could not help but be stunned. It was actually Xia Jun, who was supposed to be cultivating in the inn. I, Xia Jun, am not the kind of person who only knows how to hide and cultivate. I knew that I would definitely be of help. Xia Jun walked over proudly. Suddenly, he saw Yi Shanshan standing beside Yi Fei. His eyes lit up as he said, "Hello, little sister. I'm Big Brother's underling. You can just call me Big Brother Xia." Get lost. Didn't I tell you to cultivate in the inn? Yi Fei scolded jokingly. He did not need to think to know that Xia Jun must have been pretending to cultivate while secretly following him. Brother, I'm just worried about you. That's right, let's not waste any more time here. If that martial sage from the Lin family catches up with us, we'll be doomed. We'll all be finished. You guys take this. Let's go. Xia Jun had also come prepared. As he spoke, he had already taken out 3,000-mile instant talismans. He kept one for himself and the other two for Yi Fei and Yi Shanshan. Yi Fei was very surprised. 1,000-mile instant talisman? Xia Jun, why do you have such a treasure on you? Xia Jun smiled. Brother, have you forgotten? The Jing family of the Chaotic Ocean once found many ancient talismans in some ruins. Later on, the Zheng family joined our Divine Fist sect and gave these talismans to us. So that's how it is. Yi Fei slapped his head. Only now did he remember that the Zheng family had used many 1,000-mile instant talismans consecutively. However, it was fortunate that Xia Jun still had 3 with him. Brother, thank you very much. Yi Fei could not help but look at Xia Jun gratefully. He knew that if Xia Jun had not been following him and prepared the 1,000-mile instant talisman at the critical moment, even if he had rescued his sister, it would have been very difficult for him to escape the martial sage from the Lin family. Brother, I'm your little brother. You're treating me like an outsider by saying thank you. Xia Jun had a serious expression on his face. Yi Fei finally felt that something was wrong. He could not help but stare at Xia Jun and ask, Wait, what did you call me just now? Brother. Xia Jun said seriously. He even winked at Yi Shanshan. Yi Fei's heart was filled with gratitude. However, this gratitude immediately turned into anger. If it were not for the fact that he was too weak, he would have kicked Xia Jun and said, Brother, your sister. If you dare to have any ideas about my sister, I'll send you to the palace to be a eunuch. Brother, you can't be so heartless, right? If I were to enter the palace, wouldn't all the beauties in the world be heartbroken and cry? Xia Jun said exaggeratedly. Yi Fei was speechless on the spot. Yi Shanshan finally understood Xia Jun a little better. She could not help but secretly laugh. She understood that although Xia Jun was exaggerating, the fact that he was able to come over at such a dangerous time was enough to see Xia Jun's character. Big Brother Xia, thank you. Yi Shanshan thanks Xia Jun very sincerely. You're welcome, sister. By the way, can I call you Shanshan too? Xia Jun tried to get closer to her. Cut the crap. Let's leave quickly. Yi Fei's face darkened. At the same time, he sensed a terrifying aura coming from afar. Needless to say, the martial sage of the Lin family must have caught up with them this time. Xia Jun was so scared that he did not dare to joke around. The 3 of them simultaneously crushed the 10,000-mile instant talisman in their hand. They turned into flowing lights and fled into the distance once again. Boom! Just as Yi Fei and the others were about to leave, an elderly figure descended to the ground, bringing with it a terrifying pressure. When he saw the bloodstains on the ground and the 3 golden lights that were rapidly disappearing, the patriarch of the Lin family's face instantly turned extremely ugly. "Father, what's going on? Where's Yi Fei and his sister? Are they dead?" More than 10 figures hurriedly landed on the ground. More than 10 half-saints of the Lin family had also arrived. However, they did not find anything other than the bloodstains on the ground. "How is this possible? Father, you personally made a move but that brat still managed to escape?" Lin Feiying found it hard to believe. Their Lin family's heaven-reaching great sage had already made a move but they were still unable to capture Yi Fei. Lin Songhai's face turned grave as he said in a deep voice, 10,000-mile instant talisman, ice bloodline. When did such a person appear in our Snow-Wind Empire? However, that Yi Fei used the vicious beast's secret technique, and he will definitely pay a huge price. They won't be able to escape from the Royal Wind City for a short period of time. "Father, you mean?" Lin Feiying carefully asked Lin Songhai. Lin Songhai coldly ordered, "Immediately send orders to the Lin family's disciples to seal off the Royal Wind City at all costs. If there's any news about that brat, immediately report back. Since we've already offended him and his sister has a special bloodline, we must eliminate the weeds by the root. We must not bring any trouble to the Lin family." "I understand. I will personally lead people. Even if we have to dig 3 feet into the ground, we must exterminate this pair of siblings." Chapter 871. Becoming famous in a single battle. Countless martial practitioners were gathered at the Lin family's martial practice field. Not only were there young martial practitioners, but there were also many older martial practitioners and half-saints who had come to attend the birthday celebration. A martial saint taking action was no small matter. They all wanted to see who it was that could force the Lin family's ancestor to personally take action, even at the cost of being called a bully. "Do you think that Yi Fei can escape the martial saint's pursuit this time?" "Escape? Are your brains damaged? Although we are all at the 12th level of the martial saint realm, this is not the ancient era. Only heavenly connection experts can be called martial saints." "That's right. That Yi Fei doesn't have a special bloodline. No matter how strong he is, facing the pursuit of a martial saint, he will definitely die. Look, the Lin family's ancestor and the other half-saints are back." The crowd didn't have to wait for long before they suddenly saw the Lin family's ancestor leading a large group of people back. Many martial practitioners were shocked. So fast? As expected of a martial saint. It seems that Yi Fei is most likely dead. Seeing Lin Feiying and the Lin family's ancestor appear, Lin Ying and Lin Shui were overjoyed. The 2 siblings rushed up together, their expressions filled with hatred. "Father, is that Yi Fei dead? If not, I will kill him with my own hands." Lin Shui was very angry. In the Royal Wind City, she was a phoenix in the sky, loved by countless people. However, Yi Fei had captured her in front of everyone, found that she was useless, and casually threw her out. This was definitely a great humiliation. Lin Ying was even more furious. He thought highly of himself. In the Royal Wind City, he didn't even put Jiang City in his eyes. This time, Yi Fei had stolen all the limelight. Lin Ying's expression became slightly ferocious. "Father, where is that Yi Fei's corpse? I will tear him to pieces." "Lin Ying, Lin Shui, be more open-minded. No matter how strong that Yi Fei is, he is still a rootless duckweed. He will die sooner or later. You should not focus on someone who is about to die. Instead, you should focus on the true geniuses of the imperial capital." The Lin family ancestor shook his head and turned to leave. This time, he had disregarded his status and personally made a move. Yet, he still failed to capture Yi Fei. He had truly lost face. The Lin family patriarch didn't want to stay in front of everyone for too long. After comforting his grandchildren, He returned to the Lin family's small world and continued his seclusion. At the same time, they were also waiting for Yi Fei's clues. Lin Feiying, on the other hand, had a smile on his face. He clasped his hands together and said, "Everyone, the Lin family has some matters to attend to today. Sorry for the inconvenience. I will apologize to all of you another day." This was clearly an attempt to chase him out. No one present was an idiot. Seeing the Lin family's attitude and the empty-handed experts of the Lin family, many people's hearts skipped a beat. Not to mention a corpse, there were no traces of battle. How is this possible? The Lin clan's martial sage personally made a move, yet that junior still managed to escape. If I remember correctly, that kid is only at earth-penetrating level 4. He doesn't have any special bloodline. How can he be so powerful? Special bloodlines aren't the only ones. It's just that those with special bloodlines have an easier time becoming experts compared to ordinary cultivators. However, this Yi Fei is actually able to survive against a half-step martial sage at earth-penetrating level 4. He even used a secret technique to escape the pursuit of a martial sage. Why haven't we heard of such a person before? I heard that Yi Fei came from the outer seas. No wonder. The guests gradually dispersed. However, the news about Yi Fei swept through the entire Royal Wind City like a hurricane. Jiang Qing stood in the sky and looked in the direction Yi Fei had left. His eyes flashed with admiration and a strong fighting spirit. He traveled 600 miles in an instant. What a terrifying secret technique. What a powerful person. It's hard to imagine that such a terrifying youth actually came from a desolate place like the outer seas. Father is right. There's always someone better than you. The Royal Wind City is too small. If I want to enter the Holy Institute and become an expert, I, Jiang Qing, shouldn't set my sights on a small pond like the Royal Wind City. Seeing that the guests had dispersed, Jiang Qing slowly withdrew his gaze. This time, he didn't invite anyone to follow him. Instead, he left alone with a pensive look. In the Lin clan's small world, Lin Feiying's eyes flashed coldly as he watched Jiang Qing leave. "Father, this Jiang Qing is courteous and has the demeanor of a king. The most despicable thing is that he was the one who brought Yi Fei into the Royal Wind City. What do you think? Should we find an opportunity to kill him halfway through the opening of the Royal Wind City?" "Fool! The Jiang clan has ruled the Royal Wind City for thousands of years. That old man Jiang Min is also a shrewd person. If we take action, Jiang Min will definitely know that it was us who did it." Lin Songhai indifferently shook his head. "Are we going to let Jiang Qing continue to grow? With his talent, he has a higher chance of becoming a martial sage than Lin Ying in the future." Lin Feiying's face was filled with unwillingness. "Humph, he'll have the time to do so. When one's strength reaches our level, schemes and tricks are useless. If we want to destroy the Jiang family, we have to do it openly. Coincidentally, I know of a treasure in the Martial Emperor's secret realm that has a great restraining effect on Jiang Min's martial arts." Lin Songhai seemed to have thought of something and his face darkened as he recalled, "It's a pity that I was unlucky the last time. After I entered the Royal Wind City, I wasn't able to pass through the last stage and obtain the treasure. Therefore, when the Royal Wind City opens this time, you have to ask Lin Ying to do her best to pass through the last stage. As long as I can obtain the treasure, the Royal Wind City will soon be renamed as the Royal Wind City." The father and son looked at each other and saw the excitement and ambition in each other's eyes. Lin Feiying lowered his gaze and quickly let go of his killing intent towards Jiang Qing. He said, "Father, I understand. I won't plot against Jiang Qing. Currently, the Lin clan only has 2 things to do. The first thing is to gather all our forces and prepare for the Royal Wind City that is about to open. The second thing is to use all our forces to find Yi Fei and kill him and his sister. Cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. As a clan that was second only to the Wang mansion in the royal Wind City, Lin Feiying acted quickly. That night, numerous experts from the Lin clan had already turned the inn where Yi Fei was staying upside down. When they found out that Yi Fei had rushed over from the outer sea to participate in the Heaven and Earth Supreme Ranking competition, the Lin clan's experts immediately rushed over. The Lin clan decisively sealed off all the roads that led to the imperial capital and the outer sea. All the experts of the Lin clan who were Wu Jun and above, as well as many clans that were on good terms with the Lin clan, announced that they would completely seal off the royal Wind City within 100,000 miles. Within 30,000 miles, the Lin clan would send experts to thoroughly search the area. Outside the 100,000 miles, there were also many clans that relied on or tried to curry favor with the Lin clan. They were all searching for clues about Yi Fei. There were even some people who thought of purchasing information from the Sun Luo Hall. In this way, the matter of the Star Moon's sacred ground could not be concealed. Not long after, the news of the Star Moon's sacred ground being destroyed by Yi Fei alone spread throughout the 100,000 miles of the royal Wind City. It also caused the Lin clan to be extremely shocked. Chapter 872. The arrival of a formidable enemy. Unlike the Lin family, Northern Feng Mansion had always kept a low profile and rarely appeared in public. On the other hand, ever since the Lin family's ancestor became an omnipotent great sage, they had gradually become more prominent in Northern Feng City and had become more influential. Seeing that Northern Feng Mansion hadn't said a word, the clans in Northern Feng City saw that the Lin family had become more and more famous. Gradually, many clans had sided with the Lin family, either openly or secretly. Hence, the Lin family's operation to capture Yi Fei had garnered a lot of support from other clans. Humph, that Yi Fei better not fall into my hands, or I'll make him beg for death. Forget it. You're only of Earth Metamorphosis Tier 6. Do you know who Yi Fei is? He's a genius from the foreign seas. He's done 2 earth-shattering things since he arrived. Some martial artists in the restaurant snorted. Many martial artists who hadn't heard of Yi Fei's deeds leaned over and asked curiously, "What's the big deal? Brother, why don't you tell us?" Humph, there's no harm in telling you. Yi Fei once destroyed the entire Star Moon Holy Land all by himself. He even managed to survive a saber strike from a half-sage in the Lin clan. In the end, he even managed to escape the pursuit of a martial sage. The man's face was full of reverence as he spoke of these 2 deeds. The martial artists around him were also in an uproar. They had only received the order to capture Yi Fei, but they hadn't expected Yi Fei to be so powerful. Oh my God, that Yi Fei is so powerful! Not only is he a half-sage, even a martial sage couldn't kill him. Is he also a half-sage? A half-sage? Ha, it's the opposite. I heard that Yi Fei is only of Earth Metamorphosis Tier 4. He's 2 tiers lower than you. The martial artist chuckled. The martial artists in the restaurant immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. Oh my God, a half-sage of Earth Metamorphosis Tier 4 can escape from a martial sage. This Yi Fei is amazing. Please don't let us run into him. Although the Lin family had offered a huge bounty to capture Yi Fei, the bounty was very tempting. The life of a martial artist was even more precious. Even the Lin family couldn't have imagined that their actions of capturing Yi Fei would inadvertently help Yi Fei become famous. Many families wanted nothing more than to find Yi Fei and curry favor with Lin Songhai, the martial saint. However, even more cultivators were inwardly awed after learning of Yi Fei's deeds. They could not help but feel reverence for Yi Fei. For 10 consecutive days, the martial artists in the restaurant who wanted to catch Yi Fei were all shouting happily, but none of them actually dared to take action. Big brother, it seems that the Central States cultivators aren't much. They're all cowards who have the guts to speak but don't have the guts to act. At the corner of the restaurant, Xia Jun winked at Yi Fei and looked at those bragging martial artists with disdain. It's better to be careful. There are countless geniuses in the central state and many of them are stronger than us. Since the Lin family dares to do this, it means that they have at least a 50% chance of capturing us, Yi Fei said in a deep voice. He had long understood that one should never underestimate anyone. A martial artist's cultivation was actually a very boring process. Which of the truly talented martial artists didn't train hard all day long or travel around to improve themselves? There were very few people in the restaurant who were discussing and chatting. However, there were many people who bragged all day long. It was just that they could better conceal themselves among these people. Big brother, it's not good. My time is up again. It's all my fault for being useless and implicating all of you. Yi Shanshan blamed herself. Yi Fei had clearly taught her the heaven and earth metamorphosis secret technique. However, Yi Shanshan could only maintain it for 2 hours at a time before she returned to her original appearance. Little sister Shanshan, don't blame yourself. We should be the ones blaming ourselves for not being able to help you improve your strength quickly. Big brother, why don't we teach little sister Shanshan a cultivation technique? This way, she can maintain the secret technique for a longer time, Xia Jun said worriedly. After all, if they had to hide every 2 hours, it would be too easy to arouse the suspicion of others. No, Shanshan has a special constitution. The first cultivation technique she cultivates is very important to her. If she wants to cultivate, she must cultivate the best frost attribute cultivation technique, Yi Fei said in a deep voice. When it came to his sister, Yi Fei wanted Yi Shanshan to get the best of everything. Xia Jun also understood that Yi Fei was doing this for Yi Shanshan's sake. He could only spread his hands and say, "Then big brother, what should we do now? Should we leave or stay here?" "Let's stay here first. It's already very late. If the 3 of us leave the city, we will inevitably attract the attention of others." As Yi Fei spoke, he had already stood up with Yi Shanshan and walked towards the guest room. In the restaurant, countless cultivators were still discussing excitedly. It was just that the group of people had changed. Snow Wind City. Bailey Zhen's eyes were filled with killing intent as he stared at the city lord of Snow Wind City. "Did you investigate clearly? Did you really come ashore from Snow Wind City?" The city lord's confidants around him were furious. Who was this brat? Breaking into the city lord's mansion was already very arrogant. The most excessive thing was that he actually dared to question the city lord. "Young Master Bailey, please don't be agitated. I can guarantee that I have investigated clearly. Not long ago, the Star Moon Holy Land branch in the southern part of the city was completely destroyed. I found out that it was done by this young man wearing a black purple-gold robe." The city lord of Snow Wind City respectfully handed a portrait to Bailey Zhen. He had no choice but to be respectful. Although the city lord of Snow Wind City was also a half-step saint, he had a special bloodline. However, Bailey Zhen was a cultivator with a special bloodline. He was the strongest genius of the Bailey family. As early as 10 years ago, Bailey Zhen, with the cultivation of a martial lord, had created a glorious record of killing half-saints. 3 years ago, Bailey Zhen went to the imperial capital and single-handedly defeated the top 10 geniuses of the imperial capital, becoming a legendary figure in the Snow Wind Empire. In the face of such a young heaven's pride, not to mention a half-step saint, even a true omnipotent great sage would not dare to slight him. It really is him. Very good. I didn't expect him to come to the Snow Wind Empire. Pass down my order. Immediately inquire about his specific whereabouts and issue a warrant for his arrest. I want the entire empire to arrest him. Whoever can provide me with clues will be rewarded with 10 million high-grade spirit stones. Bailey Zhen took the portrait. With just a glance, he recognized the person in the portrait. It was the black-clothed young man he saw when he first came to the Xiexio Sea. "Humph, You were lucky last time to have a half-step Saint Powerhouse secretly protect you. But this time, even if you have the protection of the omnipotent Great Sage, I will not let you return to the Snow Wind Empire. Alright, what is his name? Bailey Zhen's eyes were burning with demonic flames. Finally, he remembered that he had forgotten Yi Fei's name. The City Lord of Snow Wind City smiled bitterly and said, "His name is Yi Fei." Yi Fei? Very good, I will remember this name. Now go and issue an order for the entire empire to arrest him. After giving these orders, Bailey Zhen did not even look at the half-step Saint Powerhouse in front of him. He directly flew into the sky and prepared to return to his family. Chapter 873. Ice Soul Heart. Why? Because Bailey Zhen has a special bloodline, and because he is likely to become a martial emperor in the near future. Our small Snow Wind City cannot offend him. The Snow Wind City Lord smiled bitterly. The Snow Wind City Lord's words shocked his subordinate. They nodded secretly as they understood why the Snow Wind City Lord was so tolerant of Bailey Zhen. Bailey Zhen was a future martial emperor. Not to mention Snow Wind City, even the entire Snow Wind Empire might not be able to offend him. Moreover, it was just a wanted poster. It was not a difficult thing to do. City Lord, we know what to do. The Snow Wind City Lord's subordinates hurriedly retreated. Soon, a wanted poster for Yi Fei was posted on the city wall. This caused many cultivators to be shocked. Who is this Yi Fei? Bailey Zhen actually issued a wanted poster for him. He even said that anyone who finds him will be rewarded with 10 million high-grade spirit stones. My God! With such a high reward, the cultivators of Snow Wind City went crazy. Other cultivators who received the news also started to ask about Yi Fei's whereabouts. Of course, this news quickly spread to the Royal Wind City. Many cultivators who were still looking for Yi Fei, including the Lin family, were shocked. What? What did Yi Fei do? We can understand why the Lin family issued a wanted poster for him. Now even Bailey Zhen wants to arrest him. Moreover, he wants to arrest him all over the country? Amazing! Did you see the reward Bailey Zhen gave? Whoever finds Yi Fei will be rewarded with 10 million high-grade spirit stones. Many cultivators' eyes turned red when they saw this amount. Then, even more people started to frantically search for Yi Fei's whereabouts. Inside the inn. The next day, Yi Fei had not yet left the inn when he heard the news that Bailey Zhen had issued a wanted poster for him. Yi Fei was very depressed. This is bad. It's fine if the Lin family wants to kill us, but Bailey Zhen actually chased us all the way from Xiexiosi. We clearly did not offend him. Is it necessary for him to hold a grudge? Xia Jun was also very depressed. He thought that Bailey Zhen had chased them all the way here to take revenge for being chased away by Na Chai last time. Yi Fei smiled bitterly. He understood that the reason Bailey Zhen had issued a warrant for him with such great fanfare was most likely because of Xiao Chao. Could it be that Xiao Chao has some sort of grudge with the Bailey family? Yi Fei wondered in his heart. Bailey Zhen's arrest warrant shocked the entire Royal Wind City. Although they didn't know how Yi Fei had offended the Bailey clan, Bailey Zhen's rallying power was 10 times more effective than the Lin clan. At this moment, even the martial artists in the restaurant stopped chatting. Instead, they stared at everyone around them with red eyes. Xia Jun went out and came back. He looked at Yi Fei with a bitter face. Big brother, we are really in trouble. The city is sealed. Anyone who goes out will have to go through a strict search. Big brother, don't worry about me. You can leave on your own, Yi Shanshan said worriedly. She knew that she was a burden to Yi Fei. Otherwise, with Yi Fei's strength, he would not have been trapped so easily. Don't say that. If the city is sealed, then so be it. We can just hide here and cultivate. Yi Fei knew that if they went out, they would be exposed sooner. He might as well stay in the inn and deal with the situation by staying put. But we don't have any spirit stones left. How are we going to cultivate? Xia Jun spread out his hands. Yi Fei suddenly remembered that not only did he use up all his high-grade spirit stones, he did not even have a single saint bone left. Xia Jun was the same. It was impossible for them to cultivate. Once they started cultivating, they would only be able to absorb the yuan qi of heaven and earth. Not only would it be slow, but it would also attract the attention of others. I never thought that I, Yi Fei, would be at the end of my rope one day. Yi Fei smiled bitterly. He was at his wits' end. At this moment, Yi Shanshan's eyes lit up. Big brother, do you need spirit stones to cultivate? Although I don't have any spirit stones, I can condense the ice essence heart. This can replace spirit stones and increase your strength. Ice essence heart? It is said that it is a treasure that can instantly increase one's martial arts realm. Sister Shanshan, do you really have such a treasure? Xia Jun asked in surprise. Why wouldn't I? As long as I have the ice bloodline, I can condense the ice essence heart. When I was in the Star Moon Holy Land, the Qing family wanted to force me to condense the ice essence heart to increase their strength. It was just that I did not agree to it. Yi Shanshan revealed a happy smile. She felt that there was finally something that could help Yi Fei. She focused her mind and activated the cold energy in her body. Yi Fei was also surprised to see that a strange pearl that was emitting cold energy was gradually condensing in Yi Shanshan's open palm. This is the ice essence heart? So this is how it came to be? A special bloodline is indeed different. Xia Jun was so envious that he was drooling. He finally understood why Lin Ying would rather break off the marriage to obtain Yi Shanshan. Seeing Yi Shanshan hand over the ice essence heart, Yi Fei's face was also filled with surprise. Shanshan, this is the effect of your ice bloodline? The ice bloodline is actually so powerful? Yi Shanshan stuck out his tongue and said, Big brother, now you know how powerful I am. When I become stronger in the future, you can stand behind me and I will protect you. Ha ha, that will have to wait until you become stronger. Alright, how do I use this ice essence heart? Yi Fei asked. It's very simple. The Qing family told me that as long as I refine the ice essence heart, I can raise my martial arts realm. However, the ice essence heart can only be used once. It won't work a second time, Yi Shanshan said dejectedly. Even so, your frost bloodline is already very heaven-defying. Yi Fei rubbed Yi Shanshan's head lovingly. He ignored the latter's protests and walked into the room to refine the ice essence heart. Little sister Shanshan, what about me? When Xia Jun saw Yi Fei enter the room, he immediately went to Yi Shanshan's side expectantly. Yi Shanshan smiled sweetly and said, Big brother Xia, of course you have one too. Here, this is an ice essence heart for you. Yi Shanshan condensed another ice essence heart and gave it to Xia Jun. Then she turned around and went back into the room. The smile on her face turned into pain. Shanshan, you must become stronger. You can't be a burden to Big Brother Fei. Clearly, condensing the ice essence heart wasn't without a price. However, in front of Yi Fei and Xia Jun, Yi Shanshan didn't show it. However, Xia Jun sensed something. He held the ice essence heart and suddenly felt ashamed. Sigh, I really can't do it to such a pure girl. My imperial harem. Xia Jun wailed. He didn't refine the ice essence heart. Instead, he treated it as a precious gift and carefully kept it. Shanshan, this girl. Did she really think that I couldn't tell that the ice essence heart she condensed was actually the power of her bloodline? It's all because I'm useless. If I was strong enough, Shanshan wouldn't have to suffer like this. In the room, Yi Fei looked at the ice essence heart that shone like a bright pearl in his hand. His face was filled with self-blame and worry. However, it quickly turned into determination. This was a treasure that his little sister had given him without any hesitation at the cost of her bloodline. Just because of this, He had to become stronger and have the power to protect his family. I must become stronger. Chapter 874. Attribute Power. The heart of ice essence was indeed different. However, after refining the heart of ice essence, Yi Fei immediately felt an additional cold qi in his body. This cold qi was also different from other cold qi. Within the cold qi of the heart of ice essence, there was a special spirit qi. Ice attribute spirit qi? I see. This should be the power of special bloodlines. The reason why those warriors with special bloodlines are so strong is that the spirit qi they absorb has an attribute. In a trance, Yi Fei seemed to understand the difference between those with special constitutions and bloodlines and ordinary warriors. The difference between the two was very likely the difference in attributes. The spirit qi absorbed by ordinary warriors was ordinary true essence without an attribute. However, the spirit qi absorbed by those with special constitutions and bloodlines could cause their true essence to have a special attribute. For example, when using the same frost palm, ordinary warriors could at most unleash 100% of the frost palm's power. However, for those with ice constitutions or bloodlines who had mastered the attribute power, they could use the advantage of their own attributes to increase the power of the frost palm to more than 100%. It was even possible for them to increase the power of the frost palm to 20% or even 30%. This was the advantage of attribute power. It could also be the greatest advantage of warriors with special bloodlines. Understanding this, Yi Fei couldn't help but sigh. No wonder Bailey Zhen is so strong. He is only at Earth Thorough 7th stage, but he can unleash the power of a half-sage. Compared to these warriors with special bloodlines, the difference between me and them is too great. However, Yi Fei didn't give up because of this. Although I don't have a special bloodline, my God of War path gives me the ability to fight above my level. My Devil Emperor Sutra can also strengthen my physical body. Even if I don't have a special bloodline, I may not lose. Talent was important, but to become strong, the most important thing was one's own hard work. I don't have the attribute advantage of warriors with special bloodlines. I also don't have the great luck of warriors with DZ. The only thing I have is hard work, faith, and perseverance. As long as I am willing to work hard, I will definitely narrow the gap between me and these special geniuses and surpass them. Boom. Following Yi Fei's firm belief, he suddenly felt his combat god path break through another level. It rose from the 3rd level to the 4th. This was definitely a pleasant surprise. That's great. The 4th level of the battle god Dao will allow me to fight opponents 4 levels higher than me, just like Bailey Zhen. The only difference between me and him is our cultivation level and attributes. As long as I can reach the 7th level of the earth-shattering realm, I'll be able to wield the battle prowess of a half-saint. Yi Fei's face was filled with excitement and confidence. After absorbing the heart of ice essence, he pushed the door open and walked out to check on Yi Shanshan. However, he found that Yi Shanshan's door was tightly shut. Cold air came from inside. Xia Jun was squatting under the eaves. When he saw Yi Fei come out, he walked up to him with some self-blame. "Big brother, I found something. Don't say any more. This is Shanshan's goodwill to us. We can't let her down. Luckily, the ice essence only works once. We don't have to worry about her doing anything stupid." Yi Fei shook his head. He knew Yi Shanshan too well. Yi Shanshan was the kind of person who looked weak on the outside but had a strong heart. If the ice essence continued to work, Yi Shanshan would definitely disregard his own body and continue to condense the ice essence. It was fortunate that the heart of ice essence was only effective on the first try. "I understand. I will go and order some food. Since we can't go out, we might as well have a good meal," Xia Jun said. "All right." Yi Fei nodded. He didn't have any high-grade spirit stones now, but he still had plenty of low-grade spirit stones in his beast mark space. Soon, Xia Jun went out and ordered the waiter to prepare the food. At the same time, a few young men wearing the Lin clan's uniform walked in from outside the inn and shouted, "People in the inn, listen up. We are going to search this inn now. Please cooperate with us." Xia Jun's expression changed. He quickly ran back and scolded, "Brother, the Lin clan is obviously forcing us to our deaths. They have already started to search the inn." "Humph, looks like the Lin clan can't sit still after Bai Zhen put me on the wanted list." Yi Fei sneered and said to Yi Shanshan, "Shanshan, follow closely behind Xia Jun. Let's go out and have a look." "Brother, but I can't use my secret technique now." Yi Shanshan looked like she was about to cry. She hadn't started to practice martial arts yet. She relied on her bloodline power to use her secret technique. Unfortunately, she had used her bloodline power not long ago to help Yi Fei improve his strength. She hadn't recovered yet. Yi Fei and Xia Jun were both smart people. They quickly thought that Yi Shanshan might have used up her bloodline power to condense the heart of ice essence. However, Yi Fei didn't point it out. He thought for a while and said, "Shanshan, quickly change into men's clothes and we will go out together." "A woman in men's clothes?" Yi Shanshan's eyes lit up. She quickly took the clothes Yi Fei gave her and went back into the room. Soon, Yi Shanshan came out dressed as a handsome young man. However, Yi Fei was still very depressed. He realized that it would have been better if Yi Shanshan didn't wear men's clothes. Now that she was in men's clothes, she looked even more charming and attractive. "Why don't you find a veil to cover your face?" Xia Jun said. "Have you ever seen a man wearing a veil?" Yi Fei said angrily. At this moment, Yi Shanshan thought of something. She suddenly touched the dust on the ground and rubbed it on her face. "Brother, this will do." Yi Fei's eyes lit up. This way, as long as Yi Shanshan lowered her head, she wouldn't be recognized easily. After everything was ready, the three of them quickly went out. The group of Lin family members outside were already knocking on the doors of each room. They were afraid of the Lin family's power and didn't dare to offend the Lin family members. They could only let them search. "The three of you over there, stop right there. Where are you going in the middle of the night? Stay here and let us search carefully." A few of the Lin family members had sharp eyes. When they saw that Yi Fei was with three people, they immediately rushed over. One of them even reminded his companions. The higher-up said that Yi Fei must have an accomplice if he could escape so quickly. "They want us to take note of three people traveling together. But the three of them are all men. It can't be that serious." "Humph, so what if they're men? Just in case, we have to search them. The few of you, go and search for the two men. As for the little bro here, leave it to us." Among the Lin family members, two shifty-eyed men walked out. They chuckled and their eyes were very sharp. They could tell at a glance that Yi Shanshan was a woman dressed as a man. It turned out that Yi Fei had only paid attention to his sister's appearance. He had forgotten that Yi Shanshan had developed very well 10 years ago. 10 years later, it was even more exaggerated. Even if she wore men's clothes, it couldn't hide Yi Shanshan's beauty. These two Lin family members were experienced in the field of women, so they naturally could tell at a glance. They immediately surrounded Yi Shanshan. For hands reached out and unceremoniously touched her body. They laughed sinisterly and said, "Hee, little bro, you better not move around. Otherwise, if you touch places you shouldn't, we won't be responsible." You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.